Article 152 of the Constitution provides that the provisions of Article 145 of the Constitution shall apply with the necessary modifications the removal from office by impeachment of the Deputy President. In particular, Article 145(1) of the Constitution provides that a member of the National Assembly supported by at least one-third of all the members may move a motion for impeachment of the President on the grounds of gross violation of a provision of the Constitution or any law where there are serious reasons for believing that the President has committed a crime under national or international law or for gross misconduct. Procedurally, Standing Order 64(1) provides that before giving notice of a motion under Article 150 of the Constitution, a member shall deliver to the clerk a copy of the proposed motion in writing, stating the grounds and particulars in terms of Article 145(1) of the Constitution upon which the proposed motion is made, signed by the member and signed in support by at least a third of all the members of the House. Further, Honorable Members, Standing Order 64(1)A lays out the criteria for admissibility of grounds for removal from state office. For clarity, Standing Order 64(1)A states, and I quote, "The grounds specified in a motion under this standing order shall be admissible if A, framed clearly to particularize and disclose a gross violation of the Constitution or other written law, where gross violation of the Constitution or other written law is indicated as a ground for the intended removal. B, stating with precision the provisions of the Constitution or other written law that are alleged to have been grossly violated, where gross violation of the Constitution or other written law is indicated as a ground for the intended removal. And C, accompanied by necessary evidence, including annexures or sworn testimonies in respect of the allegations. The foregoing procedural and legal requirements for the processing special motions are buttressed by precedents and jurisprudence in various speakers' rulings and court decisions. Honorable members, today I refrain from restating the jurisprudence and focus on determining the admissibility of the notice of the proposed special motion filed by the member for Kibwezi West. In determining the admissibility of the special motion, I'm required to examine its form, threshold, framing of the grounds, and attachment of the necessary evidence. Standing Order 64(1) provides for the criteria for determining whether the proposed motion meets the requirements of the Constitution and the standing orders as to form and the threshold. On form, it should A, be in writing, B, state the grounds and particulars in terms of Articles 151B of the Constitution upon which the proposed motion is made, and C, be signed by the member, and D, be signed in support by at least one-third of all the members of the Assembly. Having examined the notice of the special motion by the member for Kibwezi West, I find that the special motion meets the requirements relating to form and threshold set out in the Articles 145(1) and 151B of the Constitution and Standing Order 64(1). I have also satisfied myself that the number of members who have appended their signatures in support of the special motion exceed the minimum threshold of 117 members in this House. Honorable members, with regard to admissibility of the grounds set out in the special motion, framed clearly to particularize and disclose a gross violation of the Constitution or other written law, where gross violation of the Constitution or other written law is indicated as a ground for the intended removal. B, stating with precision the provisions of the Constitution or other written law that are alleged to have been grossly violated, where gross violation of the Constitution or other written law is indicated as a ground for the intended removal. And C, accompanied by necessary evidence, including annexures or sworn testimonies in respect of the allegations. Honorable members, having examined the proposed special motion, I note that in keeping with the requirements of Article 151B of the Constitution and Standing Order 64(1)A, the member has stated 11 grounds for removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency the Deputy President. In addition, I do note that the special motion as submitted to my office also contains the particulars upon which the member seeks to move the House to consider the special motion. Honorable members, with respect to evidence, the member has attached documents including annexures and a sworn affidavit to substantiate the grounds stated in the special motion. Consequently, honorable members, I find that the proposed special motion by the Honorable Ekomas Mwengi Mutuse MP meets the requirements of Articles 145(1) and 151B of the Constitution and Standing Order 64 and 65 with regard to form, threshold, and grounds necessary for a member to move a special motion for the proposed removal from office by impeachment of the Deputy President. Honorable members, having determined that the special motion is admissible, let me now focus on the next steps of giving notice of the special motion to the House. Standing Order 47(4)A provides that with respect to a motion for removal of a person from office, a member shall give notice of motion in the House within 3 sitting days following approval by the Speaker. In the circumstances, therefore, the member for Kibwezi West ought to give notice of his special motion either today or tomorrow. Given the nature of the timelines applicable to this special motion, I will, at order number 6, that is notices of motion, accord an opportunity to the member for Kibwezi West to give the notice of the special motion. Thereafter, I'll give further guidance to the House on the next steps to take. The House is accordingly guided. I thank you. Honorable Gladys Boss, are you ready? We'll go back to order number 5 for the Deputy Speaker.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to lay the following paper on the table of the House today, Thursday, 26 September 2024. Report of the Kenyan delegation to the 64th session of the OACPS Parliamentary Assembly and the first session of Luanda, Angola from the 17th to the 21st of February 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker.
Order. Order, honorable members. Order. Member for Budalangi. Order. Take your seats. Order. Member for Navajo, take your seats. Order, honorable members, order. Order number 6, Honorable Sholay.
Order number 6, notices of motion.
Honorable Speaker, I beg to give notice of the following motion, that this House notes the report of the Kenyan delegation to the 64th session of the OACPS Parliamentary Assembly and the first session of the OACPS EU Joint Parliamentary Assembly held in Luanda, Angola from the 17th to the 21st of February 2024, laid on the table of this House on Thursday, 26 September 2024. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
The Honorable Mutuse. Honorable Mutuse, I'll allow you to speak from the dispatch box, and he will be heard in silence.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity to move this motion from this table. Mr. Speaker, this is an historical moment, and therefore, with your permission and honorable members, Mr. Speaker, allow me to proceed to give notice of the following motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, honorable members, I beg to give notice of the following special motion as follows. Mr. Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Article 150, Sub-Article 1B, and Sub-Article 2 of the same, read together with Article 145 of the Constitution of Kenya that we passed in 2010, and as read together with our standing orders number 64 and 65 of the standing orders of the National Assembly, the Assembly of the Republic of Kenya, this Honorable House resolves to remove from office, by way of impeachment, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, the current Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, sir, and honorable members, this special motion was lodged with the Clerk of the National Assembly on the 27th September 2024 and contains 11 grounds for impeachment. Mr. Speaker, in compliance with the law, as stated earlier, the grounds are concise, precise, are particularized in the motion, and this is a motion, and are supported by cogent, convincing, persuasive, evidentiary material in the nature of documents, affidavits, and electronic evidence. Mr. Speaker, I will also be presenting live witnesses, viva voce evidence, who will testify to corroborate the evidence that we have adduced in support of the grounds of impeachment. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, in the interest of the time allocated, I am not able to go clause by clause, sentence by sentence, paragraph by paragraph, because as you notice, the grounds themselves constitute about 42 pages, and with the rest of the material, we have about nearly 100 pages. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, with your guidance, allow me to summarize the 11 grounds as follows. Generally, Mr. Speaker, as members will realize, the particulars of these grounds are that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has engaged himself in acts of omission and commission that constitute offenses under our Constitution, offenses under international law, and offenses under our own statutes. On ground one, Mr. Speaker, we will be demonstrating before this House that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has grossly violated Articles 10(2)(1)(a), 10(2)(b) and C, Articles 27(4), Article 73(1)(a) and 2(b), Article 75(1)(c), and Article 129, Sub-Article 2 of the Constitution of Kenya, as well as Articles 147(1), as read with Article 131(2)(c) and D of the Constitution of Kenya. And when the time comes, Mr. Speaker, I will be laying detail, article by article, to show the violations. On ground number two, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, at the opportune time, I will demonstrate to Kenyans that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has violated Article 147(1) of the Constitution and Article 152(1) of the Constitution of Kenya, the most progressive constitution in Africa. Mr. Speaker, on ground three, I will be demonstrating before this House to Kenyans and to the international community that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has violated Article 6(2) of the Constitution, Article 10(2)(a) of the Constitution, Article 174 of the Constitution, Article 186(1) of the Constitution, Article 189(1) of the Constitution, as well as the fourth schedule of the Constitution of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, Mr. Speaker, this is the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. It is not a mere document. It speaks to the soul of this nation. Under ground 4, Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has violated Article 161 of the Constitution of Kenya. I will further demonstrate under ground 5 that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, the Deputy President, the current Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya, has grossly violated Article 3(1) as read together with Article 148(5)(a) of the Constitution. Under ground 6, Mr. Speaker and honorable members, I will demonstrate that the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has committed crimes under Section 13(1)(a) and 62 of the National Cohesion and Integration Act, the act that speaks to our nationhood, the act that speaks to our multi-ethnicity, the act that speaks to our society remaining together as a cohesive society. And I will demonstrate with videos, I will demonstrate with affidavits, I will demonstrate with documents that the man holding the office of the Deputy President has violated the same law that he swore to protect in his own oath of office. Under ground 7, Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate before this House that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has committed crimes under Sections 45(1), Section 46, Section 47(a)(3), Section 48(1) of the Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act. Anti-Corruption, Mr. Speaker, honorable members, Anti-Corruption and Economic Crimes Act, by using his office to unjustly enrich himself, by using his office to acquire within 2 months properties well beyond 55.2 billion. And Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate before this House that during the presidential debate, if I may be listened to, Mr. Speaker, that during the presidential debate, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua did declare that he was worth 800 million. We are aware that he's paid slightly over 1 billion, meaning that for the last 2 years, the much he could have accumulated justly is about 24 million. But I will demonstrate before Kenyans that he has properties to himself, the ones that I was able to get in my time of research, worth 5.2 billion Kenya shillings. This is what we call unexplained assets, and we must lay the dragon of corruption from the highest office. Mr. Speaker, under the same ground, I will also be demonstrating, this is ground number 7, that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has violated Sections 2, 3, 4, and 7 of the Proceeds of Crime and Money Laundering Act. Mr. Speaker, you are aware that the Proceeds of Crime and Money Laundering Act is one of those laws pursuant to Section 2 of the Constitution of Kenya that we domesticated because of our international obligations about money laundering. And therefore, by proving the same, I will also be demonstrating before Kenyans that His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua has committed international crimes. Under ground 8, Mr. Speaker, I will demonstrate that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya has committed crimes under Section 132 of the Penal Code and Section 29 of the Leadership and Integrity Act. And honorable members will realize that the Leadership and Integrity Act is the law that was enacted by this parliament, none other than this parliament, to give effect to Chapter 6 on leadership and integrity of the Constitution. Under ground 9, I will be able to show, and Mr. Speaker, when we get to this ground, the ground of gross misconduct, I will be able to speak to the House in a very clear manner as to what constitutes gross misconduct as interpreted by our own courts. And I will be able to show that the person of the Deputy President is a bully. The person of the Deputy President has been threatening public officials. The person of the Deputy President has carried himself in a manner that brings disrespect to the office that he holds, and therefore has grossly misconducted himself. Under ground 10, Mr. Speaker, I will also specifically demonstrate that the person of the Deputy President has committed the offense of gross misconduct in the manner of insubordination, insubordinating the presidency and the Kenyan state. The Kenyan state is our soul. And if you insubordinate the state, you are not worth being a state officer. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, Underground 11, with your permission, when the time comes, I will also demonstrate, honorable members, if we may be listened to, I will also demonstrate that specifically the Honorable Rigathi Gachagua has committed crimes of gross misconduct, as I had earlier alluded to, in terms of bullying and threatening public officers. Mr. Speaker, in compliance with the provisions of Articles 145(1) of the Constitution, as read together with the National Assembly Standing Order number 65, honorable members, if you may listen, this is important. A total, Mr. Speaker, a total of 291 members of this National Assembly have graciously appended their signatures in support of this motion. 291 members. Mr. Speaker, it will be remembered, Mr. Speaker, it will be remembered that at this stage of moving the motion, the requirement of the law is that the motion should be supported by 1/3, translating to about 117 members. However, Mr. Speaker, we have 291. I therefore wish to thank my colleague members of Parliament for supporting this motion to over 83%, way beyond the required threshold of two-thirds, which is 67%, that is required at the next stage of voting for this motion. So, Mr. Speaker, there are times when we used to say this is an open and shut case. Mr. Speaker, sir, as a requirement of our standing orders, please allow me to read the names of the members who have signed in support of this motion.
Order.
Mr. Speaker,
go ahead.
Mr. Speaker, for purposes of completeness of the record, the standing orders require that the mover of the motion does read all the names of the members who are in support of the motion for openness. And I therefore read the name of the patriots, borrowing from Senior Peter Kaluma. Mr. Speaker, I began with myself. The Honorable Ekomas Mwengi Mutuse, yours truly. The Honorable Owen Baya. The Honorable Japheth Nyakundi. Matthias Robi. Kimani Ishungwa. Member for Kikuyu and Majority Leader. Abdul Rahim Daoud. Patrick Munene Dwiga. Eric Wamombi, the member for Madera. George Kariuki. Kili Daniel Karido. Dorothy Mudhoni Ikiara. Mwangi Kiunjuri. Boro Ambore. Elizabeth Kairemia. Edwin Mugo Gishoke. Rindikiri Mugambi. Jane Kagiri. Anne Murada. John Paul Murigi. Gikaria David. John Kirago. Mary Mainge. Alice Nganga. Wambugo Wainaina. Mashua Waidaka. Korea Kimani. George Kitonga Murugara. Simon Nganga Kingara. John Kiaria Wainaina. Shadrach Mwiti. Honorable Joseph Wainaina, nominated. Betty Maina. Geoffrey Kiringa Waroko. Roko. Gigi Kagombe. Julius Taitumu. Duncan Maina Madenge. Kwenya Dhoko. John Juguna Wanjiko. John Kanyuithia Mutunga. Honorable Junet Mohamed, the leader of minority. Honorable Mohamed Abdikadir. Honorable Yakub Ado. Honorable Richard Ken Chonga, Honorable Ali Wario, Honorable Ruwaida Obo, Honorable Hamisi Chome Abdi, Abdi Kadir Mohamed, Zamzam Mohamed, Rashid Benzimba, Said Buya, Peter Shake, Peter Masara, Mishi Juma Mboko, Joyce Osogo Bensuda, Fatuma Masito, Mohamed Machele, Aduma Owor, Jerusha Momanyi, Honorable Dr. Professor Gogo Lilian, Millie Odhiambo, the one and only, Honorable Irene Mayaka, my sister, Honorable Dick Maungu, Honorable Joshua Oron, Honorable Walter Owino, Honorable Patrick Osero, Honorable Molfason Barongo, Mark Ogola Nyamita, Tom Ondege, Gisairo Ombane, Oku Kaunya, Rosa Mbuyu, Charles Were, Fatuma Mohamed, Paul Abuor, Badu Twalib, Dr. Charles Ochieng, Caleb Amisi Luyai, Elisha Odhiambo, Farah Maalim, Elijah Memusi Kanchori, Kakuta Maimai Hamisi, Aden Daud Mohamed, Honorable Wanjala, Honorable Peter Orero, Honorable Martin Peters Owino, Honorable George Peter Kaluma, Honorable TJ Kajuang, Chiforomondo Mwangale, Honorable Donya Doris, Stephen Mogaka, Felix Odiwar, Geoffrey Odanga, Honorable Tim Wanyonyi, Honorable Christine Ombaka, Honorable Hussein Weitan, Honorable George Aladwa, Joseph Oyula, John Bwire, Omar Mwinyi, Catherine Omanyo, Danson Mwashako of Wiper Party, Innocent Mugabe, Charles Nguna, Mwingi West of Wiper Party, Honorable Elsie Muhanda, Honorable J.L. Sunguli of Kilgoris, Honorable Udgun Siad, Honorable Dr. John Ariko, Honorable Tindi Mwale, Otiende Amolo Senior Counsel. Mr. Speaker, the House takes notice that Honorable Otiende Amolo is one of the makers of the Constitution that we are implementing. Honorable Christopher Aseka, Honorable Paul Ekwon Nabuin, Honorable Nicholas Gikor of Turkana East, Honorable Yusuf Mohammed, Honorable Abdgadir Hussein Mohammed, James Koyo, Sarah Paulata Korere, Honorable Umker Arun Mohammed, Honorable John Nikal.
James.
Yes, my sincere apologies. For the correctness of the record, this is Honorable Dr. Professor James Nikal, the member for Seme. Honorable Daniel Manduku, Honorable Mohamed Ado, Honorable Wario Guyo, Honorable Paul Katana, Maurice Kakai Bissau, Emmanuel Wangwe, Bernard Shinyali, my friend Nabi Nabwera, Patrick Makau Kingola of the Wiper Party Mavoko constituency, and Commissioner of the Public Parliamentary Service Commission, very able, voted by members of this House. I thank you in a special way, my senior brother. Honorable Shakil Shabil Hamed, Honorable Aden Kainan, Honorable Dr. Aden Kainan. Honorable Fatuma Jeho. Honorable Amina Munyazi Laura. Honorable Gertrude Mbeyo. Honorable Adipo Akwome. Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, I can have a sip of my water.
Go ahead.
Number 134. Number 134, Abdi Omar Shurie, the chairman of the Committee of this House on Public Debt. Honorable Tom Oluoch, the member for Dagoretti Beatrice Elachi. Honorable Samuel Arama. Honorable Guyo Jaldesa, Professor. Honorable Anton Kibagedi, my brother. Honorable Samuel Atandi, my brother. Honorable Ruth Busia. Honorable Ruth Odinga Busia, the women rep for Kisumu County. Honorable Eve Obara. Honorable Johnson Manya Naika of Mumias East. Kipyegon Joanna. Omboko Milemba. Marwa Maisori. Moses Kirima. Lydia Aiga Mizigi. Adan Aji Yusuf. Mumina Bonaya. Charles Gimose. Mohamed Tubi. Zahir Janda. Clemens Lawyer. Zuleka Hulbal Arun. Lekumontare Jackson, member for Samburu East. Anton Kenga Mpe, ukimwona Mpe. Bashir Abdullahi. Didmas Barasa. Malulu Injendi. Geoffrey Mulanya. Frederick Ikana. Mr. Speaker, for completeness of the record, there are names that I have cancelled and I have signed against the cancellation. Honorable Titus Amala, Joseph Dena, Honorable Kivai Kagesi, Honorable Vincent Musyoka, aka Kawaya, member for Mwala, Honorable Fabian Muli, Honorable Caleb Mule, Honorable Joshua Mwalio, Honorable Dr. Recho Nyamai Kaki, Honorable Nimrod Mbai, aka KPLC, Honorable Dido Raso, Honorable Lekuton of Laisamis, Honorable Chief Whip Silvanos Osoro, Honorable Abdisarat K. Ali, Honorable Abdul Haro, Honorable Mary Emase, Irene Joki, Nebat Muriuki, George Gachagua, Stephen Karani, Gidhua wa Masukuru, Rahabu Mukami Washira, Joroge Wainaina, Elijah Njoroge Kururia, Epuyu Nanok Daniel, Mudhoni Marubu Monica, Kenneth Tungulu, Mudhama Stanley, Joseph Emanthe Namur, Faith Gitau, Cecilia Asieni Ngitit, Pamela Njoki Njeru, Rahab Robert Basil, the member for Yatta and Wiper Party. Protas Akuja, Kasim Sawa Tandaza, Pauline Lengimis, Honorable Dr. Robert Pukose, Honorable George Sunguia, Honorable Joash Nyamoko, Kitlai Olentutu, Lea Sankaire, Lemankon Aramat, Agnes Pareño, Gabriel Tongoyo, Rebecca Tongei, Catherine Wambilinya, John Makali of Kandui, John Chikati, Susan of Tharaka Nithi, the women rep for Tharaka Nithi County. Mburu Kahangara, Geoffrey Wandeto, Ronald Karauri, Jackson Koech, Jackson Kosgei of Baringo, Adams Kipsanai, Kagogo Bowen, Jematia Sergon, William Kamket, Catherine Ngalechei, Ruben Kiborek, Kimaiyo Gideon, Musa Sirma, Joseph Kipkorus, Joshua Kandie, Charles Kamuren, John Waluke, Richard Yegon, Richard Kilel, Brighton Yegon, Francis Sigei, Kipngetich Koech, Lynette Chepkoril Toto, Justice Kemei, Nelson Koech, Beatrice Kemei, Joseph Cherorot, Kibet Komugoi, Hilary Kosigei, Benjamin Langat, Mutai Alfred Kiprono, Liza Chelule, Joseph Tonui, Paul Chebor, Fred Kapondi, Lilian Sioi, Naomi Jilowako, Faisal Abdi Bader, Alpha Miruka of Bamachoke Charge, Deko Baro, Innocent Obiri, Ogola Gideon, Honorable Sabina Chege, the party leader of the Jubilee Party, Peter Lochakamping of Sigor, Samuel Chemulel, Rael Kasiwai, David Kosing, Titus Lote, Joseph Samal Womwa, Honorable, the handwriting is sometimes difficult, right? The member for Samburu North.
Eli.
The Honorable
Letipila Eli.
Lelitila Lady of Samburu North. The Honorable Kareke Mbiuki. The Honorable Martin Pepela. Wanami Wamboka. David Ochieng. Ferdinand Kevin Wanyonyi. Gladys Boss Chepkosgei Sholei, the women rep for Sinigishu and my former teacher. Paul Kipchil Biego, Marianne Kitani, Samuel Kiprono Chepkonga, Janet Sitienei, Muge Chepkosgei Cynthia, Joses Kosgei Lelmengit, David Kiplagat, Julius Kipibiwot, Julius K. Ruto, Bernard Kitur, Phyllis Barto, Professor, Oscar K. Sudi, Engineer Oscar Sudi, Dan Wanyama, Honorable Dr. Adagala Beatrice, Amina Dika, Abdi Ali Abdi, Hussein Abdi Bare, Gonzi Rai, Ibrahim Abdi Sanei, Honorable Ker Kasim, Honorable Salah Farah, Karoli Omondi, Robert Gishimu, Michael Mushira, Jared Okello is my last name, making a total of 291 members. Mr. Speaker.
Yes, wind up.
Honorable members, as we wind up, as I alluded earlier, I presented to the Clerk of the National Assembly, and this afternoon, I'm laying on the table of the House the following documents. Number one, the special motion dated 26th of September 2024, and received by the clerk on the 27th of September 2024, and I have it in my hands and I'll be laying it shortly. Number two, with this special motion, Mr. Speaker, I am also laying before the table of the House the list of 291 members of the National Assembly who signed in support of the motion. Mr. Speaker, number three, I will also be laying the bundle of evidence in support of the grounds in the motion. And number four, I will be laying the list of witnesses all contained in this bundle. Mr. Speaker, Kenyans will be shocked. Indeed, Kenyans will be very shocked when we finally unravel and demonstrate the grounds and the supporting evidence. I therefore, through you, Mr. Speaker, humbly request the House Business Committee to allocate me ample time at the time of moving the motion so that Kenyans can appreciate in detail the injustices that have been committed against them by the person of the Deputy President. I thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I beg to give notice of the special motion and to lay the said documents on the table of the House. And if you allow, Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, please allow me to highlight the following.
Order.
Mr. Speaker, I am a Christian, and I often read the Bible. And the Holy Bible, in the book of Proverbs 29 verse 16, says as follows: when the wicked are in authority, sin flourishes. But the godly, and mark the godly in small g, will live to see their downfall. That is the Holy Book as contained in the book of Proverbs 29:16. Further, Mr. Speaker, in the book of Mark, chapter 9, verses 42 to 47, it says as follows, and I quote: If anyone causes one of these little things, honorable members, Kenyans, please listen carefully. If anyone causes any one of these little things, those who believe in me, to stumble, it would be better for them if a large millstone were hung around their neck and they were thrown into the sea. 43, if your hand causes you to stumble, cut it off. It is better for you to end a life maimed than with two hands to go into hell, where the fire never goes out. 45, and if your foot causes you to stumble, cut it off. It is better for you to end a life crippled than to have 2 feet and to be thrown into hell. And if your eye causes you to stumble, pluck it out. It is better for you to enter the kingdom of God with 1 eye than to have 2 eyes and be thrown into hell. Mr. Speaker, if Kenyans cannot get services because of Deputy President Gachagua, we'll be pleading, pluck him out from government. Mr. Speaker, honorable members, it is my belief that these 2 quoted verses are also true to the Quran and to other holy books. Turning now to our own jurisprudence. Honorable members, because many of us are political practitioners, even those who are not lawyers, would remember that in nullifying...
Order, Mtuse, you are giving a notice of motion, you are not debating the motion.
Yes, I'm finishing.
Yes.
I'm finishing. In nullifying the 2017 presidential elections, His Lordship, the Chief Justice Emeritus, the Honorable David Maraga, pronounced himself in the following words: the greatness of any nation lies in its fidelity to the Constitution and adherence to the rule of law, and above all, respect to God. And Mr. Speaker, it is this persuasion, Mr. Speaker, that has made me to bring this motion of impeachment against the person of the Deputy President, His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. For the record, and Kenyans, listen, I have no grudge, I have no malice, I have no ill will, I have no personal vendetta against His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua. I am just doing my duty as a citizen of the Republic of Kenya and executing my mandate as a member of this House as mandated under the Constitution. to bring this motion. I will therefore, Mr. Speaker, with your permission, lay the documents before the House and beg to give notice of the motion. I thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Hand over the documents to the clerk. Yes, Ruku, what is it? Order, members. Ruku, what is it?
Honorable Speaker.
In relation to the motion?
Yes.
What is it?
Honorable Speaker, I rise to seek your clarification on the special motion for the removal of the Deputy President. Honorable Speaker, as you are aware, 4 seats in the House are vacant following the resignation of the Honorable Obio Wadai and Honorable John Badi upon being appointed as Cabinet Secretaries. Further, as you are aware, the seat of Magarini constituency was declared vacant following a successful election petition. The Banisa constituency seat was also declared vacant following the unfortunate demise of our colleague. In this regard, we are now 345 members in this House and not 349 members. Honorable Speaker, in this right, what the threshold shall you use to determine whether the special motion, what is the threshold, Mr. Speaker, shall you use to determine whether the special motion meets the constitutional threshold? Differently put, Mr. Speaker, to pass this motion, shall we require 2/3 of 345 members or 349 members? In my view, vacant seats should not be counted.
Order. You can't ask a question and answer it. You cannot ask the question and answer it.
Honorable Speaker, let me prosecute. I'm trying to prosecute my point of order. In my view, vacant seat should not be counted in determining the voting threshold. Further, I wish to seek your clarification on whether our proceedings are varied in the right of the 4 vacant seats. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. You've made your point. Bashir?
Honorable Speaker, Article 145 and 150 of the Constitution provides for removal of the Deputy President. Our standing order goes to great length on the same to explain the procedure for removal of the Deputy President, as stipulated under Standing Orders 64 and 65. Honorable Speaker, what is clear from reading of Articles 145 and 150 of the Constitution is that the role of this House is just to pass the resolution as to whether the Deputy President shall be impeached or not. It is the exclusive role of the Senate to conduct the trial process. Simply put, we are the initiators and the Senate will be the trial house. Honorable Speaker, consequently, I seek your guidance on whether it is necessary to invite the Deputy President to this House in terms of the right to be heard, noting we have nothing to do with the real process. In my view, the Deputy President shall be required to appear before the Senate, but nevertheless, I seek your indulgence on this matter. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable members, we'll leave it there. Yes, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I don't intend to anticipate debate
I will not allow you to.
Yeah, because this is just a notice of motion. But, Mr. Speaker, there are matters that surround the notice of the motion that needs your guidance and action, Mr. Speaker, because, Mr. Speaker, this is a very momentous issue. Because, as you are aware, when this country gave itself the new constitution, Mr. Speaker, Kenyans were very happy. And this is one of the moments in this House, Mr. Speaker, when we are going to exercise Article 150, which has not happened before. So, Mr. Speaker, this is a very, very important matter for this nation, Mr. Speaker, that is being exercised through this House. But having said, Mr. Speaker, as you're aware, there are members from our side and members from the other side who have signed to this petition, to this motion, Mr. Speaker. And, Mr. Speaker, I wanted to get your assurance as the boss of this House, as the leader of this House, as the Speaker of this House, Mr. Speaker, that the 291 members of Parliament who have signed to this motion, Mr. Speaker, their safety and security will be guaranteed, Mr. Speaker. Because the motion does not end at the tabling, at the notice of motion today. It will go through a process. It will be formally again moved. Members will debate, and members will vote on it. Mr. Speaker, we want those 291 members of Parliament to turn up here the day of voting, Mr. Speaker, without missing any one of them, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we have just passed the new Inspector General of Police the other day here, Mr. Kanja. Not really. He must take responsibility as the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Speaker, to guarantee the safety, as the Inspector General of the country, Mr. Speaker, to guarantee the safety and the security of the 291 members. Mr. Speaker, you know this thing. What we are doing is not a small thing, Mr. Speaker. When Trump was being removed, was being impeached in the United States, Mr. Speaker, you know what he attempted to do. And what can happen here, you know, Mr. Speaker. And let us not fight, let us not begrudge anyone, because what the House is doing is constitutional, because the House is just exercising its mandate. It's not doing anything outside the Constitution. There is nothing unconstitutional that's happening in this House, Mr. Speaker. You can impeach a cabinet secretary, you can impeach a deputy president, you can impeach the president if you wish so. So, Mr. Speaker, this is an exercise that is given to us by the Constitution. So, Mr. Speaker,
you've made your point.
I have made my point, but I conclude by saying this, Mr. Speaker. That, Mr. Speaker, when we were elected, Mr. Speaker, as members of Parliament, we became the staff of the Parliamentary Service Commission. Each member here, Mr. Speaker, their employer, they are employees of the Parliamentary Service Commission, which you are the chairman, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I have spoken on behalf of the members because when they were signing, that is what they told me, Mr. Speaker, as the minority leader. They told me, we are in support of this thing, we are really ready to move, but we want things done legally and procedurally and within the Constitution, inside Parliament and outside Parliament. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I don't want to open debate. Yes, Whip, what's your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, I also seek your guidance and indulgence on the notice of motion that has just been tabled here today, because we all agree that post-2010 Constitution, this is unprecedented. In as much as it happened years back, this is very new, post-2010 Constitution, and we will need a bit of some guidance. Ordinarily, Honorable Speaker, any motion that is brought before this House and that is of public interest goes through the entire process, including public participation, Honorable Speaker. I need to seek your guidance and indulgence on the place for public participation as far as this notice of motion is concerned. Because looking at the jurisprudence that has been made by the courts and the lower legislative arm, which is the county assemblies, on the impeachment of the governors and deputy governors, Honorable Speaker, you'll realize and notice that many impeached governors or their deputies challenge their impeachment based on the process of public participation, Honorable Speaker. This is unprecedented, and of course it's my view that to replicate the same, to what happens on the impeachment of governors and deputy governors, and they invoke the element of public participation across the country.
You've made your point.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, Majority Leader. Before you, Majority Leader, Farah has been raising his hand. I'll give you 1 minute, Farah.
Mr. Speaker, I also join the other colleagues in this, but I've just one very important, most important in this country to raise. Not only do we have to protect the lives of 291 members of parliament who have appended their signature there, we must also protect the system. The IG must protect our president to the hilt. Because you know the kind of a constitution we have. Any reckless thug can decide to change the course of history if, God forbid, anything were to happen to our president. You get my point? And there are people who we have been so worried lately, I get the feeling that they can even have the capacity to plan something like that. Let us make sure this information goes out. Our president must be protected to the hilt until this motion is over. Because if, God forbid, anything were to happen, then we have something much bigger to worry about.
Thank you.
And those guys
you're the last on that.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. My Honorable Speaker, if you will indulge me, I'll add something on security. But before that is on Standing Order 85, Honorable Speaker. 85-2, which, Honorable Speaker, I would beg, even as you guide members, that members listen, that it shall be out of order to anticipate the debate of a motion of which notice has been given by discussion upon a substantive motion or amendment and all that is said in the standing orders, Honorable Speaker. And I say this, Honorable Speaker, because I know we are in an open and transparent society, and many of us will be invited to media stations to discuss this impeachment motion which notice has been given today. Just to caution members that it will be completely out of order to discuss the substance of the motion in media stations before debate, as is contained in our standing orders. So when we're invited to media stations, maybe we be guarded in what we discuss, so that we do not go into the substance of the motion until we are done with debate. After debate, Honorable Speaker, we are all at liberty to discuss, and that includes, Honorable Speaker, both those who have appended their signatures, like myself, and the other few who have not appended their signatures, Honorable Speaker. There are 58 members who have not appended their signatures. Honorable Speaker, just to add on to what the Honorable Farah and Honorable Junet have said, Honorable Speaker, the security of members of parliament is paramount. Honorable Speaker, I say that looking at you, because you know on the 25th of June this year, Honorable Speaker, none other than yourself, you were a target, and you know that. And not a target for harm, but a target for elimination based on the position you hold as Speaker and the ranking order should anything happen to the President or the Deputy President, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to beg that you take with a little more weight the issues raised by Honorable Junet and Honorable Farah Maalim, because, Honorable Speaker, we have seen it on social media. We have been told by certain quarters that before March of 2025, they say bendera itapepea mlingoti nusu. Honorable Speaker, these are weighty issues. And I hear what the Honorable Farah Maalim is saying on the security of the President, and we have no business to advise the Inspector General and the Director of the National Intelligence Service on what to do. But for members of this House, all the 349 of them, Honorable Speaker, you must direct the Inspector General of Police, who was approved by this House less than a month ago, to ensure that when this House is sitting within the precincts of Parliament, and even outside and including committees of this House sitting, Honorable Speaker, members are secured.
Thank you.
And even in their homes, Honorable Speaker, they are secured. Because, Honorable Speaker, I say this, being privy to the information that I was privy to and you are privy to on the 25th of June, and knowing, Honorable Speaker, that as Honorable Junetta said, we are not dealing with an ordinary matter, we are not dealing with an ordinary man, we are dealing with a black man with a very black heart. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, members on their feet. Order, Deputy Speaker. Take your seat. Take your seats, those who are there. Honorable members, those points raised, I'll address them later in the day. I want to direct members of the House Business Committee to retreat to room 9 so that we can have House Business Committee to address, among other things, the process of disposing of this motion in the shortest time possible so that we don't maintain anxiety unnecessarily, and the issues that you have raised about public participation and others. So after the House Business Committee, the Speaker will come back to the House at about 5 and give you direction on what we shall do from here going forward. So I'll now direct the Deputy Speaker to come and take the seat so that members of the House Business Committee, Junetta and your team, Ichungo, your team, all troop to room 9 for a meeting immediately. I've closed that chapter, Mshomba. You didn't raise your hand when I was giving people. That chapter is closed. I'm sorry I didn't see you. Yes. Pardon? Two? Take the seat. Deputy Speaker, take the seat.
Next order.
Order number 7, questions and statements.
Honorable members, order. The Honorable Member for Funyula. You have a statement, Honorable Member for Funyula. Honorable
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker,
Order, honorable members. 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 Okay, I think we can proceed. Honorable Member for Funyula, let's allow Dr. Pukose to make his statement, then you go next. Honorable Pukose, Chairperson of the Health Committee. Honorable members, please.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Thank you, Madam Speaker. I wish to make a statement on the shift from NHIF to SHIF rollout of the universal health coverage. Honorable Speaker, the Ministry of Health and Social Health Authority is today rolling out the Social Health Authority healthcare services and benefits under the three funds. That is the Primary Health Care Fund, Social Health Insurance Fund, and the Emergency Chronic and Critical Illness Fund established under the Social Health Insurance Act number 16 of 2023 that was enacted by this House almost a year ago. This act is being operationalized by the government. Access to SHA healthcare services and the benefits being offered by SHA is being rolled out today, 1st October 2024. As the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Health, I rise to give a statement on matters concerning the procurement of the Integrated Health Information Technology System by the Ministry of Health, which has elicited a lot of debate. Honorable Speaker, members of the Departmental Committee on Health have raised concerns regarding the procurement of this system. In response to these concerns, the Ministry of Health was invited to clarify the procurement process and to provide evidence of compliance with the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, CAP 412C. Honorable Speaker, the committee made the following observations from its engagements with the ministry. One, the Ministry of Health, through the State Department for Medical Services, undertook the procurement of Integrated Health Information Technology System as part of the implementation of universal health care in the country. The ministry submitted that the primary aim of this integrated system is to address the existing challenges in the healthcare sector, including issues of interoperability, data quality, accessibility, and affordability. The Ministry of Health is aligned with the Kenya Health Sector Strategic and Investment Plan, the Kenya Health Data Collaborative, and the Kenya Digital Economy Blueprint, all under the guidance of Section 105 of the Health Act, CAP 241. Honorable Speaker, the system procurement involves a contract valued at Kenya shillings 104,808,136,478, set to be executed over a 12-year period. The Ministry of Health has partnered with MS Safaricom PLC as a strategic partner with the procurement conducted under the specially permitted procurement procedure. The procurement covers the development and implementation of integrated health information technology system, including digital healthcare platforms. The tender is structured in two major cost components. Initial investment by the strategic partners of Kenya shillings 34,003,483,013 over 2 years, and infrastructure support and maintenance of Kenya shillings 70,804,653,465 over 10 years. In adherence to Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act and the tender regulations, the ministry indicated that the procurement process began on 6 June 2023, when the then Cabinet Secretary for Health requested the use of the specially permitted procurement procedure for the medical equipment supply project, healthcare information technology, that's the transition project, and the supply of community health promoters, CHP kits. The National Treasury approved the request on 13 June 2023, subject to conditions regarding the preparation of tender documents that include specifications, conditions of tendering, and contracting and justification for the use of SPPP, detailing the procedure of onboarding the strategic partners. This process was followed by the ministry's compliance and further approvals. The bid documents were issued on 9th May 2024 and closed on 15th May 2024. After the tender evaluation and negotiation, the ministry submitted a draft contract to the Office of the Attorney General for review and necessary advisory in line with Section 134(2) of the PPADA. This section obligates the accounting officer of a procuring entity to seek clearance from the Attorney General before signing contracts of a value exceeding Kenya shillings 5 billion. As mandated by Section 114A of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act, a specially permitted procurement procedure can be utilized under the following circumstances. 1, a procuring entity may use a procurement procedure specially permitted by the National Treasury. The National Treasury may allow the use of specially permitted procedures, A, where exceptional requirements make it impossible, impractical, or uneconomical to comply with the Act and the regulations. B, where the market conditions or behavior do not allow the effective application of the Act and regulations made under the Act. C, for specialized or particular requirements which are regulated or governed by harmonized international standards or practices. D, where strategic partnership sourcing is applied. And E, where credit finances procurement is applied. Or F, in such other circumstances as may be prescribed. Honorable Speaker, the
Honorable
Ministry of...
members, please be quiet. Honorable members, and I think the chairperson is saying something that's very important about the new social health insurance fund that is very important to our constituents. So let's pay attention.
The Minister of Health invited Mesa Safaricom PLC to submit a proposal using the provisions of Section 114A, D and E of the Public Procurement and Asset Disposal Act. Mesa Safaricom PLC submitted a technical proposal and a financial proposal as a consortium with Convergence Network Solution Limited and Apiero Limited. With Safaricom PLC.
Hold on. Honorable members, those who want to have little kamkunjis, if you could kindly go to the lounge so that we can listen to this very important report.
With Safaricom PLC being the lead bidder in the consortium. Safaricom PLC roles in the consortium involves overseeing the entire project, ensuring that all consortium partners adhere to the contract's terms and deliver their respective components as per the agreed scope. Safaricom PLC was approached as a strategic partner owing to its strong capacity to manage and coordinate the project effectively. Safaricom PLC is the largest telecommunications company in Kenya and one of the most advanced in East Africa. Safaricom has a major technological advantages, particularly its extensive 5G network, which currently reaches 77% of the Kenyan population. In addition, Safaricom's network covers over 99% of the country, providing connectivity in remote areas. These factors made Safaricom the most suitable partner for a large-scale project that requires robust and reliable digital infrastructure. Honorable Speaker, Convergence Network Solutions Limited, founded in Canada, is a leading digital transformation IT company with its headquarters in Nairobi. It established operations in Kenya in 2014 when it was incorporated on 2nd April 2014. From its profile, Convergence Network Solutions Limited has a presence across East Africa in 7 countries, including Rwanda, Zambia, and Uganda. Convergence Network Solutions Limited specializes in cyber recovery solutions, identity security management, analytics, and data modeling, IoT, enterprise system integration, integrated physical security, and enterprise collaboration and customer engagement. Apiero Limited, on the other hand, is a private company limited by shares and which has incorporated in Abu Dhabi global market on 11 July 2023, with its business activities being computer programming activities, treasury financial systems, and applications development, call centers activities, regulation of the activities of providing health care, education, cultural services, and other social services, excluding social security, market research, and public opinion polling, computer consultancy, and computer facilities management activities, data processing, hosting, and related activities. Apero Limited is owned by Sirius Holding, which has over 25 subsidiaries and presence in over 28 countries. The latter is an international holding company, the largest UAE holding company with over USD 250 billion market capitalization and 479 subsidiaries across 9 industries. Honorable Speaker, I wish to inform this House that the system being procured is not just a social health authority system, but a national integrated information technology system for the entire health sector, a digital superhighway. The system, therefore, this digital superhighway is therefore not solely managing social health insurance, but provides for the various components aimed at delivering a comprehensive and integrated healthcare system for the country. These components encompass the development of a health information management system, a health information exchange platform, core business services such as provision of telemedicine and track and trace for pharmaceutical products. The Social Health Authority Insurance Management Platform, an enterprise resource planning system, national logistics and supply chain management software, a learning platform, a data lake, and analytics system, as well as the necessary digital health infrastructure to support these systems. The Ministry of Health averred to the committee that it secured the necessary approvals from the Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and the Attorney General for the use of the specially permitted procurement procedure, with main justification for the procurement of the system being the obligation set out in Section 105 of the Health Act, Cap 241 of 2017. This section provides for the establishment and maintenance of a comprehensive and integrated health information system by the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health also clarified that due diligence on the contract had been conducted by Kaplan and Stratton, advocates, and not Danton, Hamilton, Harrison, and Matthews, as widely reported on social media. Honorable Speaker, the committee had also expressed concerns about electricity and network connectivity challenges in certain hospitals, especially in remote areas. The Ministry of Health and the Social Health Authority acknowledged the issue, noting that 4,065 health hospitals face difficulties with power and internet access. To mitigate these challenges, hospitals will receive devices with power banks for backup power. Additionally, the digital system will function in offline mode, ensuring hospitals can operate without internet access. The ministry is also collaborating with the Ministry of Energy to secure infrastructure upgrades, including reliable electricity, to facilitate the full implementation of the digital health system. The Ministry of Health further assured the committee that there are at least 3 connectivity lines available to support the system in case of system down or failure. Madam Speaker, the Ministry of Health and the Social Health Authority, in the meeting held with the committee yesterday, Monday, 30th September 2024, highlighted its preparedness on the rollout of the access to social health benefits. The Ministry of Health submitted that as of 28th September 2024, the SHA system had registered approximately 2 million new members, while 9 million members from the NHIF system were to be transitioned to the SHA platform. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, the integrated health information technology system, if implemented by the Ministry of Health in the manner that the latter explained to the committee, would contribute significantly to the digitization and modernization of Kenya's healthcare system, ensuring accessible, affordable, and high-quality care for all Kenyans, as envisioned in the Kenya Health Policy 2014 to 2030 and the Kenya Universal Health Coverage Policy 2020 to 2030. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I submit.
Thank you. Next now. You have a point of order? Okay.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. We just want to interrogate the statement. I have a few concerns, Honorable Speaker. One, I think as a National Assembly, we should sit back and understand what is going on. I'm seated with some members of that committee, Madam Speaker, and they are expressing dissatisfaction on what's going on. Madam Speaker, few fundamental issues about such a thing. I don't understand how such a program can go on without public participation. This is a house of rules. We enact laws. We are supposed to follow the laws. Two, Madam Speaker, the greatest systems, most sophisticated, KRA, name them, I have never heard of a system that cost 1 or 4 billion. A system, Madam Speaker. I'm told the system, the platform that NHIF ran on, they only needed 700 million to upgrade. But a whooping 104 billion. Madam Speaker, you must also understand that these people did single sourcing. The government went for single sourcing for such an amount of money. We cannot allow this to go on in this country. We are saying, take a step back, go and listen to what Kenyans are saying. We cannot take all the important infrastructure of this government in one foreigner called Adani. We cannot. We cannot give him the airport. We cannot give him Ketraco. We cannot give him our health system. It's going to collapse. Lastly, Madam Speaker, I have read and interrogated this statement very well. The benefits that NHIF was giving were superior than the benefits this system is going to give, Madam Speaker. I want to beseech this National Assembly that when the country is headed in a wrong direction, we must say no. Let's step back and listen. This thing is a bad thing. It is causing damage to our country. We will not have a country at the end of the day. Mr. Chairman, sit back, go and follow processes. You cannot award a contract of 1 or 4 billion by single sourcing. You cannot. The eating is just too much. We should not allow this eating and looting in this country. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Justice Kame.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
And make it brief so that the chairperson will be able to respond.
I'll be very brief, Madam Speaker. And mine is not related to the statement that has been given by the chairman of the Health Committee. But Madam Speaker, on the...
I thought I'm only letting you, I'm entertaining any comments on what the chairperson has said. What do you want to talk about?
Sorry, Chair. I had sought a statement from the chairman of the Health Committee on the 15th of August this year on the state of smallpox in this country, Mpox, sorry.
Okay, I think there's no relevance to what we are discussing now, so you'll have to ask that at another time. Okay. Yes, Honorable Member for Funyula, then I'll come to you, Beatrice Elachi.
Honorable Speaker, I'll make it very brief. Honorable Speaker, I'm shocked beyond belief. I'm shocked that a member of parliament can come and stand here and justify the massive rip-off. 104 billion, Honorable Speaker, just to run a system. Honorable Speaker, to be honest, Chairman, we beseech you. You are a Kenyan. Be mindful of the people of Kenya. 104 billion going to the hands of insiders of this government is a rip-off. We cannot afford to steal from Kenya to this extent, Honorable Speaker. How heartless can you be? Just go back, Honorable Chair. Single sourcing, 104 billion. Where on earth? Just go, reflect, think about it, involve your committee members, and surely tell yourself, this, you are a Catholic like me. You are a Christian. You cannot afford to steal when you have no remorse. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Elachi.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Mine is just to ask Chair to guide us, because we have many, many people with chronic diseases who have been using NHIF. We have now changed from today into shift. And they need to understand that if I go, because when you say star 147, everybody was trying and nobody was able even to enter into this system. For me, what is a bit sad is that you can imagine somebody who was going for dialysis does not know what to do when they arrive in hospital. How I wish the Ministry of Health can put in a public notice saying, if I have an NHIF and I've been going through chronic diseases, dialysis or whatever, I arrive in hospital with my NHIF, you put me in the system, you give me this shift card or whatever it is, it will help us. But lastly, if we want to be really people who look in humanity in eyes, I am hoping that that system never costed us 104 billion when the president is struggling with a Eurobond, which again we did the worst mistake at that time. That Eurobond costed us 16% on a dollar, when that time Egypt was getting the same Eurobond with 3%. Let us not go back to those things that happened 2013, 2014, and we are back here. It will be as wrong, as evil, as it has never happened. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Yes, Honorable Kibagendi, and then I'll come to you, Honorable Nikar.
Madam Speaker, I sit in the Health Committee, and I have raised concerns about a bulk of what fellow members have raised here this afternoon. One of my concerns, of course, was about the cost of this particular system, given that some of the most sophisticated systems that we have in this country are KRA, Safaricom, M-Pesa, and a few others that cost less than 10 billion Kenya shillings. I'm wondering why we should genuinely spend 104 billion shillings on a system that those who created the NHIF system were willing to upgrade for less than $1 billion shillings. 104 billion shillings is adequate to take care of primary school children. For 10 years, it's 9 billion per year. They would have lunch in school. Secondly, Madam Speaker, why this system should offer an inferior benefit, yet members now pay more. Imagine, Madam Speaker, they are saying in a family, you can only benefit, only one individual can benefit to go for diabetes tests per year, one person, and it's only 4,000 shillings. Only one person can benefit on matters to do with dental, and it's about 2,000 shillings. Only one member in a family can benefit with optical medical care. It is absurd given what we had in NHIF. If indeed NHIF had issues, our focus should have been to review the claims management department. And today, Madam Speaker, I would like to bring to your attention that even in this social health authority, there is a scheme to outsource the core mandate of this particular authority, which is the claims management department. And that will be a loss of funds that would have been used to support poor Kenyans. Madam Speaker, this is something that I've been request that through our committee, we step back and look at I've forgotten to mention, in our committee, we requested the ministry to produce even one photo of a public participation event. They could not produce even one. There was no public participation anywhere in this country. So, Madam Speaker, I would request as a member of that particular committee, and there is a lot that we can talk about, we step back and review this and even the cost. I forgot to mention also that the companies that benefited from this particular contract have never developed any kind of this system anywhere in the world. One of them was just registered the other day in July. So you can imagine the haste in which those who intend to benefit from this had. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I think we just have one more voice, and then we can end this, and I'll allow the... Okay. All right, I'll go to Honorable Deputy Leader of Majority, and then I'll... Oh, yes, sorry. I'm sorry, Honorable Oren, yes. Honorable Nikal was next, then I'll come to you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm a member of the Health Committee, and I'll stand here and say the statement our chair has read does not reflect the position of the members of that committee. Statement number one, and I say it with courage. Two, let me finish.
What's your point of order?
Madam Speaker, indeed, if members of the Health Committee are saying that what the statement the chairman has read to this House is not a representative of the views of members of the Health Committee, then why are we discussing it in the first place?
Okay.
Yeah, why are we discussing it, Madam?
Okay.
Is that in order?
So let me allow Honorable Nikal, and
What?
then you will have a chance to respond to this, Honorable Bukose.
Speaker, to begin with, we were not even aware that this statement was going to be made here. And when there are three issues here, one is the issue, the integrated health information system, the purchase of which is costing 104 billion. That's one issue. Issue number two is the transition process that Honorable Elachi was talking about. Issue number three is the issue of the outsourcing of claims. Let me talk about the issue of the integrated system. The information we got from the ministry as far as the procurement process was concerned, they followed the law as they interpreted it, but we were not satisfied. And these are the issues we raised, and we said we should get more information on. One, we could not ascertain whether the cabinet was actually aware of this. The procurement starts with the ministry, and you do not see any information behind that is linking with the cabinet. And at one time, the PS was saying the cabinet can be informed, given for information when you are purchasing at 104 billion. We didn't agree with that. Two, we were not satisfied that enough effort was made to get other institutions or other partners that would provide this at a lesser cost, even compete. It was not clear to us how Safaricom got the request for proposal and is the only one that got the request proposal. Why not others? And we said we will need that information later. Madam Speaker, it was not clear to us whether due diligence was done on the partners in the consortium where Safaricom was the lead, particularly Apiero, because there had been a lot of information about Apiero. That we did not get, and we actually at the end of the meeting said we are either going to get that or we'll do it ourselves. The ministry did not give us enough information on that due diligence. Madam Speaker, It was not clear to us how this money is going to be paid. When we asked the PS said it is the users. And Madam Speaker, this system is huge. It will even involve the private health institutions. It will even involve the regulatory authorities all the regulatory authorities and the health sector. It will even involve the health facilities in the counties. And it was not clear how these users will actually pay for it. And we were informed that they are going to do a cash flow, a simulation of how this will be paid. And we had not reached that level as yet. With that, Madam Speaker, we were not satisfied and we are surprised that our chair is reading this in this House. When it comes to transition, we were sure that the people were not given enough information, because what Honorable Lachi was asking was, if you have NHIF and we are transiting to SHA, will you get treatment? We were told, yes, when you go there, you will get treatment. But that information is not with the people. So we said, what is it that is being launched? You can launch the beginning of a process, but you cannot say you have shifted and people therefore will not get that service. So we were not satisfied. On outsourcing, on claims, that was one of the biggest issues we raised during the discussion on this law here. We asked and they said, for the time being, SHA will do it itself. And we are not sure whether that is so, because the law provided that May. We were concerned about the May. Those who are here may remember. So, Madam Speaker, this, in the view of the committee, we have not reached a conclusion about this. So with that, Madam Speaker, I say it does not represent the view of members of the committee.
Okay, let me give Honorable Makali the point of order. I will come to you so that you can respond. Just note them down.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Yikal is a ranking member in this House and a serious expert in matters health. He has made statements here, which I think, because this is a House of Records, he says the chair of this committee have submitted a report in this House which does not reflect the views of the committee members. Would I be in order, Honorable Chair, to demand that the chair of the committee tables in this House the minutes of the committee and a list of members who have signed for the adoption of that report? That's the only way we can clear the air.
What's your point of order, Honorable KJ? I'll come to you. Let KJ make his...
Madam Speaker, as much as this is a House of Records, it's also a House of procedure. It is also a House of traditions. To my mind, what has been laid on the floor of the House today is not the property of any committee. Neither is it the property of the chair. In fact, if I was keen enough to listen to what the chair said when they were moving this, the chairperson, Dr. Pukose, said that he's presenting as a ministry statement. And the ministry is at liberty to transmit statements to this House at any moment. And even responses that come from requests for statements actually are directed to chairpersons. They rarely go through any processing by committees and in fact find their way to the floor of the House. So, Madam Speaker, I find this House not utilizing the little time that it has fairly in prosecuting a matter that is in itself not substantially before this House, because what was put here, Madam Speaker, you would have been right in your place to just listen to Dr. Pukose and proceed to other business. All he did is equivalent to a communication. It is equivalent to even a notice. It is equivalent to an announcement. To open it up to a debate is to take the statement to be a substantive motion before this House, which it is not. And we might open up a debate so that we maybe poster for cameras, or maybe so that we go on record, or maybe because we want to play to the gallery. But the truth of the matter is that there is no substantive motion before this House open for debate, or even open for comment. It was just a statement that was laid on a momentous day when the ministry was transitioning from one order to the next order, and they, at their liberty, decided to communicate to this House. So, Madam Speaker, I do not see a place for debate or comments on a matter that is not a motion. And I say this because we are guided by standing orders. We might not be able to debate something that is not substantially before this House. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker.
Honorable KJ, the tradition of the House has been that when members make statements or ask questions, usually if there is an interest by members to, comment on it, usually we'd allow them. So it's, but also, okay, Honorable, because you're out of order, don't speak from there. You will get a chance to respond, like I've said. Yeah, Honorable Owen, I've already corrected him, so it's done.
I would like to say this, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, what I understood when the Honorable Pokosi stood, he said he's issuing a statement. And Honorable Nyikal is a ranking member who I have a lot of respect. But it is also important to listen at the beginning. Was the Honorable Pokosi laying a document from the committee, or was he laying a statement from the ministry? So if you actually come here and say you disown that the committee did not participate or agree on that statement, you are actually right, but on the wrong lane. He was not laying a position paper of the committee. He was laying a statement from the ministry. And the ministry has a right, as chairman of the committee, he transmits business from the ministry to the House, which is properly in order. And therefore, I would request you, Honorable Nyikal, being a dignified member of this House, ranking with a lot of respect, it is important that you withdraw that statement on the basis that you are commenting on something that has not been presented to the House. This House has not received a committee report. This House has received a statement from the minister. And that is the position. So for you as a ranking honorable member of there and my neighbor, it is good. It is actually good practice to say, I did not understand it, I spoke on something that was not proper, and therefore withdraw. Secondly, Honorable Speaker, I'd like to speak to my friend Wamboka, Jack. He has a good voice, he's very articulate, and he says a lot of things that people celebrate. But also, it is very important, Jack, that when you come to contradict a statement from the ministry, the tradition of the House is for you to substantiate your statements. Bring documentation, substantiate, say something contrary with proof, with facts, with documentation. Even what Kibagende did is just to hype something that does not exist. Because if they talk about Adani has done this, Adani has done this, yes, good practice that we have inherited from our forefathers in this House is that you come and substantiate and say, I have documentation here that shows contrary. I want to substantiate to say this. So, you know, the statements that are being said here, Honorable Speaker, and it's very important that we protect programs that government have initiated that are going to take care of millions of Kenyans, like this program that is being rolled out. If we go out there, say things without proof, without substantiating on those items, they kill a good government program just because somebody has an opportunity to come to Parliament and speak about them and is heard all over without substantiating. Honorable Speaker, we must take debate in this House to another threshold. The things that you come here and because you have a loud voice, you can say whatever you want to say and it carries the day. Honorable Speaker, if I were you sitting on that seat, I would have told them to withdraw those statements because they are not good for this country, they are not substantiated, and they are not statements of fact. They are not statements of facts, and Honorable Speaker, what they did was wrong. I applaud Honorable Pokosi because he stands for what is true. I thank you, Honorable.
Yeah. Let me allow Honorable Pokosi to respond. What's your point of order, Modi Karoli?
Madam Speaker, understanding order number 1, I think Honorable Owen Baya is completely out of order to try and undermine the authority of this House and the discretionary power that the Speaker has to allow any kind of debate to be admitted on the floor of this House, especially on a matter that is as important as this. And I hope you are not going to close it after the response of the chairman, because we have views. We don't sit in the committee. We have our views to present on the floor of the House. And we didn't ask them to come and make the statement. They made it. They've walked into our territory. We must have the opportunity now to speak. And I hope it will not be closed at that. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
I think honorable members, let's allow Honorable Pukose to confirm so that he can clarify whether it's a ministry report or a committee report. And I think the members from the committee, I think if Honorable Pukose has admitted that it's a ministry report, then yes, it is true that it was not, didn't come through your committee. But let's allow him to respond so he can clarify those issues. And yes, this particular topic is very important to Kenyans.
Madam Speaker, this is a statement. We are in order number 7, which is statement. And Honorable Speaker, you allowed me to make a statement on behalf of the ministry on the rollout from NHIF to SHIF. That is on the rollout of the universal health coverage, which is happening today. That was the basis in which I was given this position to make that statement. Unfortunately, my colleagues are assuming this is a committee report. No, it is not a committee report. This is a statement. I think that should be very distinguished. Secondly, Madam Speaker, the points which have been raised by my colleagues, Honorable Nyekal and the other members, are not in relevance to my statement. None of them has disputed any of what I've raised in this statement. They have actually gone ahead to make their own points based on what they know. And I think that is very wrong. It is based on hearsay. And Madam Speaker, when I brought this statement, the aim of this statement is to reassure Kenyans that today we are rolling out, we are moving from NHIF to SHIF. And when we are moving from NHIF to SHIF, people are worried outside there. Are we going to access our health services? That is the point. And in this report, I said 9 million of the people who are in NHIF are going to be moved to SHIF today or moving forward. It is not a one-off event. This is a transition. Today is the start, and it is moving. They have already registered about 2 million people into the SHIF system. Among the SHIF, people are talking of system. What is here is a digital superhighway. SHIF is just a small, the ERP for SHIF is just a small component of it. The rest is a huge component. And members, my committee members, Honorable Kibagendi, Honorable Nyekal, they are aware. And this is not, unfortunately, I listened to you. I didn't dispute what you are saying, but you are talking from an ignorant point. Because what is happening is you have...
Give him a chance to complete explaining.
You have, unfortunately, and this is where we get problems, because you want to go and explain to your people, and you don't have facts. In this digital superhighway, it is connected to the national registration pariah and many other systems within it. It's a huge thing. It has two components. When we now go into the digital superhighway, it has two components. And this is not a SHA system. This is a digital health authority system. It's a Ministry of Health system. So what happens is you have Safaricom being a lead agency with others who have come in to invest in two components. They are investing in infrastructure and maintenance and service for 12 years. Okay? And the procurement method, as I read it here, which they used, is the specially permitted procurement procedure. That is as per the ministry. Yeah? And they presented their documents, which I said, I didn't read that part, but they went to the Attorney General has commented, the National Treasury has commented about it, and they've given them a go-ahead. We are not stopping anything that is happening there. The committee is still in the process of looking at looking at certain areas, which we agree. That is the committee position. But this is the ministry has its position. And as a chair, I'm communicating the ministry's position.
I think, Honorable, because you've clarified the issue, you've said that's a ministry position, and I think you've confirmed yourselves, Honorable Nikal, that as the committee, you're still interrogating this matter. So this will not prohibit the committee from continuing.
If a statement is being made, give me. One, if the ministry wishes to make a statement to the public, it is not through this house. If the ministry is making a statement, it does not make reference to the discussions that has become before the committee. Once the ministry brings out the issues that they brought and discussed before the committee, it therefore becomes our discussion as well. So all the things were said, we met with the committee, we did this to the committee. You are therefore bringing the committee into what the ministry is saying. And we have not completed, giving the impression that what the committee is saying, what the ministry is saying, the committee has agreed to it. So on that, there is nothing to withdraw and to apologize about.
Okay, Honorable Nikal, I think it's understanding Order 44B, you know, the leader of majority or minority or chairperson of a committee or their designee may make a statement relating to their responsibilities in the House or activities of the committee. So yes, they're responsible to oversight the Ministry of Health. So yes, he's in order to come and make that statement as a statement coming from to the people. Yes. He hasn't referred to the. He didn't refer to. He has not referred to the committee, and I think he's made it clear. It's a ministry statement. The committee will be at liberty. You'll be at liberty to continue to interrogate this issue. Yeah, it doesn't affect your operations because you can still come and question the ministry. The ministry can appear before the committee and still question them on that issue. I think, Honorable Owen, let's just close this and move to the next statement. No, I think the comments were more based when people thought it was okay, I'll just allow you, Honorable Karoli, but
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
very briefly, though.
Yes, normally I'm very brief. Madam Speaker, ever since this particular matter came into public limelight, I think both the country and the House are addressing the wrong issue. Let me explain why. What is being touted as being supplied by a consortium led by Safaricom is nothing other than an information management system. It is a digital, as they call it, a digital superhighway. It is an information management system. What Safaricom has become an expert on doing is fronting contracts that are opaque, that are not transparent, as was evidenced by the one for surveillance of the city, and avoiding the tendering process. If you look at the amounts of money that are allocated to this particular process, 104 billion is equivalent to $700 million, which would capitalize a big insurance company to offer healthcare services to Kenyans. That is not the case here. We are being told that an information management system that is being acquired without competition, without transparency, will cost 104 billion, which was the amount for the first Eurobond Kenya ever borrowed. I mean, what we should be asking is the financial details of this transaction. What is the interest rate? What is the repayment period? This House should see the financial elements of this contract. This is a financing arrangement where a service provider walks to a user and says, okay, you don't have the money to do this, I will do this at this cost, without testing.
I think Honorable...
Yes, that is what we should be talking about. This is a financial instrument. Yes.
Caroline Omondi, I think we've already settled it, that this matter is before the committee. It's before the committee, isn't it? Okay, what's your point of order, Honorable Chair?
Madam Speaker, I'm on a point of order. Honorable Caroline Omondi has claimed that this is a health information management system. But from my reading, the system there is not solely managing social health insurance, but provides for various components aimed at delivering a comprehensive and integrated health system for the country. These components encompass the development of a health information management system, that is one, a health information exchange platform, that is two, core business services such as provision of telemedicine, track and trace for pharmaceutical products. Yeah? You are not listening. The health information system is just one. There is track and trace for pharmaceutical products. There is core business services such as provision of telemedicine. There is development of a health exchange platform. It is many things. No, that is different things.
Okay,
you know, the problem is you are not listening.
Okay, Honorable Pukose. Okay, Honorable Pukose, I think now we are flogging a dead horse. Already, the committee is at liberty to interrogate this issue. The committee is at liberty to summon the Minister of Health. Honorable Pukose, don't defend the ministry position. There's no, and I'm saying you've read it. Let the committee will work on it. And obviously, it's obvious that members have questions. You'll deal with it at the committee level. We are not going to be able to deal with it here on the floor of the House. So let us end this debate, Honorable Owen. Yes, Honorable Owen.
I want to say this. You know, Honorable Caroline Omondi is a bright lawyer, and he understands what he's saying. And I also want to know more about these things that he's talking about. I also want to know more, Honorable Caroline. But you see, you're using the wrong path. Why don't we summon PPRA, the Public Procurement Regulatory Authority, to come and explain how they allowed that to happen? I also want to know how 104 billion would be used on this. But then, do you want to ask that to Honorable Pokose? There are people in this country that have been given a job to do that. I also want that Minister for Finance should come here and PPRA to come and explain to us how almost the value of a Eurobond would be used on one system. I want to know that. But then, do not attack Honorable Pokose on...
Your point, Honorable Owen. You've made your point. Okay, let us proceed to the next order of business. I think we have another statement from the Honorable Member for Funyula, Honorable Ounda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. This is a request for statement. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44.2c, I rise to request a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security regarding the welfare of prison officers. Honorable Speaker, various reports, including the Maandamano Committee report of 2008.
The Honorable Member has just crossed the floor. Please go back. Proceed, Honorable Ounda.
Honorable Speaker, various reports, including the Maandamano Committee report of 2008, the Maraga Task Force report of 2023, and other Ministry of Interior and National Administration reviews, have repeatedly identified and documented the challenges facing the Kenya prison services. Despite these comprehensive evaluations and recommendations made, the situation remains largely unchanged. The state of affairs was affirmed in the Maraga Task Force report, which stated the situation remains the same as what the Madoka Committee established about 15 years ago. In essence, the conditions within the Kenya Prison Services remain precarious and pose a potential threat to national security if the service ultimately becomes dysfunctional. Honorable Speaker, it's against this backdrop that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Administration and Internal Security on the following. Number one, the status of implementation of the recommendations of the Maraga Task Force report, specifically in relation to the promotion of prison officers, some who have stagnated at the same job grade for over 10 years, and the constitution of the Prisons Council as provided for under Section 21C of the Prisons Act. Number two, any plans to provide, Honorable Speaker, decent housing for prison officers under the Affordable Housing Program, and if you saw, the status of these arrangements. And finally, number three, the status of harmonizations of the terms of service, including salaries, for all officers and the various services, specifically between the National Police Service and the Kenya Prison Service, to ensure parity and fairness, remuneration and working conditions. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, I think that statement will be dealt with by the Committee of Administration and Internal Security. Okay, next statement. Is there anybody from that committee, Administration and Internal Security?
In the mic. Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. But that statement is to actually the State Department of Correctional Services, which falls under Justice and Legal Affairs. So I believe that will be the right committee which will handle the statement, and that can be done within 14 days if it is forwarded immediately to the State Department of Correctional Services.
Thank you for that correction. Now I remember actually that was moved to Justice and Legal Affairs. Okay. The next statement is by Honorable Member for Langata.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of the Standing Order 44(2)C, I rise to request a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations regarding the current management and public access to Uhuru Gardens. Honorable Speaker, Uhuru Gardens is one of Kenya's most significant national monumental facilities. It holds deep historical value as it is the site where the Kenyan flag was hoisted during the Declaration of Independence on the 12th December 1963. It symbolizes the birth of the nation and Kenya's freedom from colonial rule. The facility is a site that represents Kenyan national identity, national pride, where citizens can reflect on the country's history, achievement, and aspirations. For many years, Uhuru Gardens was available recreational space for the local community and tourists. The expansive green space allowed people to engage in physical activities such as morning runs, picnics, relaxation, and now more so content creation for the young people called the Gen Zs, hence promoting physical and mental well-being. Public access to such facilities is therefore essential for the community health and social cohesion. The situation changed when the facilities was placed under the military oversight, which has restricted public access. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations on the following. 1, clarification whether Uhuru Gardens will remain an open public space as it was earlier or has become a space of controlled visits and access. 2, a report on the status of the completion of the renovation of Uhuru Gardens by the KDF and when will the public be granted access. 3, the reasons for permission of certain activities, such as marathons, music concerts at Uhuru Gardens, while the general public is denied access. 4, plans in place to ensure that Uhuru Gardens is listed under the e-citizen platform, specifically the 222 portal, to allow citizens to make payments or bookings for the public access and events, thus ensuring accountability and transparency. I thank you, Madam Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. That particular statement will be marked to the Committee on Defense, Intelligence and Foreign Relations. Is there any member of that committee here? Okay, the Deputy Majority Leader, you'll ensure that that is acted on. And you can tell them they have 2 weeks to respond. Next is a statement by the Honorable Fatuma Zainabu, member for Migori.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Order 44/2/C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairpersons of Departmental Committee on Environment, Forest, and Mining regarding mining activities in Makalda Gold Belt in Migori County. Honorable Speaker, the Makalda Gold Belt in Migori County is known for its riches in precious minerals such as gold and copper. The minerals are precious national resources that ought to be extracted for the benefit of the nation, the local communities, and the future generation as envisaged under Article 69 of the Constitution. It is of great concern that mining activities in Makalda seems uncoordinated, hence violating the rights of the residents to the benefit from the minerals. Additionally, in September 2023, the Cabinet Secretary for Environment, Climate Change and Forestry gazetted 6,165 acres of land in Makalda area as forest land, despite the land being ancestral home to over 20,000 households that have lived on and practiced artisanal mining on the land for many years. The gazettement of the land without public participation threatens the permanently disinherit residents of their ancestral land and disconnect them from lifelong benefits expected to accrue from the minerals in the region. This has caused spate of violence conflicts among artisanal miners and small mining companies and foreign mining companies as locals seek to preserve their right to land and the benefit from the mineral resources. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Environment, Forest, and Mining on the following. 1, provide a report on all reconnaissance, prospecting, or mining licenses issued under the Mining Act Cap 306 for mining in Makalda, including details of the farms, terms of the licenses, the minerals in respect of each license, and the status of mining activities for each mineral. 2, criteria for award of mining licenses and clarification on the reasons for granting licenses to foreign firms, including the number of local miners from Migori County granted mining licenses. 3, provide a report on whether the directive of cession of copper mining in Makalda region, citing its declaration as strategic mining, followed by the process set out in the Mining Strategic Mineral Regulation 2017, and if not, the reason for its enforcement in Makalda. 5, provision of report of payout of royalties to Migori County government and the local communities for minerals mined from Makalda, and if not, the reasons for non-remittance. And 6, steps being taken to resolve the stalemate between the locals and the foreign miners that led to closure of mining activities, and when the area will be reopened since it supports the livelihood of many. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you. Yes, Honorable Member, I can't quite see you.
where Makalda sits. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just wanted to support statement by my women leader from Migori County, and I want let it be known in the House that we have a petition with the Departmental Committee on Environment on the settlement of that land, where the Minister for Environment refused totally to appear before the committee. And listening to our women leader, you'll realize the statement is capturing both environment and mining. And majorly mining, she has clarified that there are a lot of issues to be done to assist the community also to benefit from the minerals. So I would request, Madam Chair, for us to help our people. We need to make the Minister for Environment to honor the summons from the committees. And again, I would request that we extend the petition or the statement so that we get some clarity from the Ministry of Mining for the benefit of our people. I thank you, Madam Speaker.
Okay, I think that statement of Honorable Fatuma will be placed before the Environment and Forestry Ministry, and also to them, and also mining. And what can happen is that the two can be consolidated with the earlier petition that you have alluded to. And I think Leader of Majority would ensure that happens, because I can't see the member for that committee here. Thank you. Okay, let's proceed. There's a statement by Honorable Mohammed Ado, member for Wajir South.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs regarding the status of delimitation of electoral units. Honorable Speaker, Article 89(2) of the Constitution requires the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission to review the names and boundaries of constituencies at intervals of not less than 8 years and not more than 12 years. Such review ought to be completed at least 12 months before a general election. These units are a key consideration in resource allocation in the country, and their absence thereof creates inequity in representation and access to national resources. Honorable Speaker, my constituency, Wajir South constituency, spans approximately 22,000 square kilometers and is the second largest constituency in the country. It is 10 times the size of Kiambu County. The constituency faces a myriad of challenges, such as administrative inconveniences that have often led to the merging of some areas close to one another, as well as underrepresentation in the county assembly, a high population density, and considerable absence of equity in resource allocation. It's against, Honorable Speaker, it's against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Justice and Legal Affairs on the following matters. 1, the expected timelines for the delimitation of electoral units in accordance with Article 89(2) of the Constitution, and measures put in place by the government to ensure that residents of constituencies and areas like Wajir South constituency and North Hor that are not just overpopulated, but also have little access, that have access to more resources while awaiting the boundary reviews. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. In particular statement will be marked to the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee. Honorable Sir George Murugaran. Honorable Irene Mayaka, you're distracting the chairperson. We've said that the matter relating... Honorable Murugara, did you hear about the status of the delimitation of electoral boundaries? When will you be able to give a response on this?
Thank you very much, Madam Speaker. we do not have an IBC on which we can actually give these particulars. And I recollect being told at liaison committee that I should be making a statement as regards the progress we are making to constitute IBC. I confirm that the process is ongoing, but I need to give a better statement tomorrow after I collect all the facts, because we were just from a litigation on the selection panel. That litigation is over in terms of the interim order that was in force. We expect the president to gazette the selection panel, which will sit within the given timelines, which were set by this House, to constitute IBC. Once it is in office, then we can start answering such pertinent questions as regards the limitation and other issues. So, Honorable Speaker, let me give the first statement tomorrow. And then after that, we can deal with this.
Okay, thank you. There's a statement by the Honorable Agnes Pareño, member for Narok North.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provision of Standing Orders 44-2C, I rise to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry and Cooperative regarding the sale of Ufundi Cooperative Plaza by Ufundi Sacco. Honorable Speaker, Ufundi Cooperative Plaza in the Nairobi Central Business District has for several years been the subject of a vicious court battle between Ufundi Savings and Credit Cooperative Society Limited and its 14,999 members. In 2022, a three-judge bench ordered that the land and the plaza, which are co-owned by the SACCO and the investing members, should be sold and proceeds be shared after clearing debts owed to Cooperative Bank of Kenya. The proceeds would be shared between the SACCO and investing members at a ratio of 58.88% and 49.12% respectively. Honorable Speaker, the ruling made by the court intended to bring closure to the long-standing dispute and provide a fair resolution for all stakeholders. Despite the clear directives provided by the court, ongoing wrangles between the investing members and the SACCO continue to impede the sale of the Ufundi Cooperative Plaza. Unfortunately, the wrangles have affected constituents of Narok North constituency who are members of the SACCO. Some of the affected constituents include Mr. Peter Kisemba of ID number 1576966 and Mr. Ngoge Kitere of ID number 0094256. The inordinate delay in the sale of the payment of dues has caused anguish and financial distress to the members who are now elderly and some who are now deceased, with their dependents equally suffering. For instance, Mr. Isaac Amaungure of ID number 10242-136 and a constituent of Narok North passed away before he could receive payment of his dues. Honorable Speaker, it is against this background that I request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Trade, Industry, Cooperatives on the following. Provide a report with clear timelines on the status of implementation of the court order on the sale of Ufundi Cooperative SACCO Society Limited and its land, and the modalities for the settlement of the sale proceeds between the SACCO and its investing members. 2, steps taken by the ministry to ensure compliance by the SACCO in execution of the sale in order to safeguard the interests of investing members. Measures put in place by the ministry for effective governance and regulation of cooperative societies to protect the savings of members and avert disputes like those facing Ufundi Cooperative Society Limited. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. That statement will be back to the Ministry of Trade, the Committee of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives. Is there a chairperson of that committee here? Yes, Honorable Lounda.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. The Chair and the Vice Chair are not present in the House at the moment, but I undertake as being a founder member of the committee to bring the statement within 2 weeks. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Okay, next we have the statement by Honorable Kazungu Tungule, member for Ganze.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, for this opportunity. I rise to request for a statement regarding the status of elephant invasion in Ganze constituency. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to the provisions of Standing Order 44-2C, I wish to request for a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife regarding the increased invasion of elephants in Ganze constituency. Honorable Speaker, the current state of elephant invasion in Ganze has become a matter of great concern, particularly in Mitangani, Ndigiria, Bandari, Murimwandege, and pockets of Bamba and Mahera locations. The elephants have exhausted all water sources utilized by residents for domestic and livestock use. Furthermore, the invasion of the mentioned areas has rendered farming activities impossible, leading to increased dependence on unreliable and erratic relief food supplies. In addition, the risk caused by the elephants has compelled parents to escort their children to and from school, hence impeding them from engaging in profitable economic activities. The fear of attacks by elephants is causing schools to commence later and end earlier than scheduled, which negatively affects learning in schools. Honorable Speaker, the matter was reported to Kenya Wildlife Services officers in Gede, in Malindi, but the response has been lethargic. As a result, for the last 6 months, elephants have been roaming freely in residential and agricultural areas. It is also regrettable that for the last 6 months, the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife has done little on rounding up the herds of elephants from the residential areas. Honorable Speaker, it is against this backdrop that I seek a statement from the chairperson of the Departmental Committee on Tourism and Wildlife on the following. 1, provide a report on the measures that the ministry is taking to ensure that the herds of elephants are returned back to the Tsavo East or other designated conservation areas, and challenges that KWS is facing in such situations. 2, policies that the government is implementing to cushion the affected locals from hunger caused by the destruction of crops by the marauding elephants. And 3, steps taken to compensate farmers whose farms have been destroyed and families who have lost their kin, including timelines for compensation. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Okay, the next statement. Which one is the next statement? Okay. Yeah, this is now marked to the Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife, the Committee on Tourism and Wildlife. Okay. The Leader of Majority, Baya. A statement was sought from the Minister of Tourism and Wildlife by the Honorable Kazungu Tungule, MP for Ganze.
We will.
When can you give an undertaking on exactly when that statement is going to be ready in the House?
Give us 2 weeks, Honorable Speaker.
In 2 weeks from today?
Yes. 2 weeks.
So on a Tuesday, 2 weeks from today?
Correct.
Okay. Honorable member, you have had it. Yeah. Next order.
Order number 8, the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024, second reading, question to be put.
Yeah. Honorable members, order, honorable members. Honorable members, I now put the question that the Technopolis Bill, National Assembly Bill number 6 of 2024. As many as that opinion say aye. As many as the contrary opinion say no. The ayes have it. Next order.
A bill for an act of parliament to establish the Technopolis Development Authority to provide a framework for the development and management of the Technopolises and for connected purposes. Order number 10, special motion, consideration of a nominee for appointment as the Director General of Competition Authority.
Honorable Speaker, move. The Chair Finance will do the moving for this.
And where is he?
He's around.
Oh yes, proceed. The Chair Finance Committee, proceed please.
Honorable Speaker, I rise to move that taking into consideration the findings of the Joint Committee on the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and that of the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget in its report on the vetting of a nominee for appointment as a Director General of the Competition Authority laid on the table of the House on Thursday, the 26th of December 2024, and pursuant to Section 12(1) of the Competition Authority of the Competition Act, Cap 504, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act of 2011, that this House approves the appointment of one Mr. David Kibet Kimei as the Director General of the Competition of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the Competition Authority of Kenya is a regulatory body responsible for enforcing competition law in Kenya. It aims to promote fair competition, prevent anti-competitive practices, and protect consumer welfare. The Competition Authority of Kenya plays a critical and crucial role in fostering a competitive market environment, which is essential, Honorable Speaker, for economic growth and innovation in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the Office of the Director General of the Competition Authority is established under Section 12(1) of the Competition Act, Cap 504, in the following terms. Director General, 1, that there shall be a Director General of the authority who shall be appointed by the authority and approved by Parliament from persons having knowledge and experience in competition matters. Honorable Speaker, Section 12(1) of the Competition Act also provides for the qualification for a person to be appointed as a Director General of the Competition Authority as having, most importantly, having knowledge and experience in competition matters. Honorable Speaker, the then acting Cabinet Secretary for the National Treasury and Economic Planning, in exercise of powers conferred to him by Section 12 of the Competition Act, Cap 504, nominated Mr. David Kibet Kimei as the Director General of the Competition Authority through a letter dated 6 August 2024. The message by His Excellency Musalia Mudavadi, the then acting Cabinet Secretary, was conveyed to the House by the Speaker of the National Assembly and the Speaker of the Senate. Honorable Speaker, pursuant to Section 4 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act and Standing Order 216(5)(f) of the National Assembly Standing Orders and Standing Order 77(1) of the Senate Standing Orders, the name of the nominee was submitted to the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, which, sitting jointly, conducted the approval hearings. Honorable Speaker, following the referral of the nomination of the committees, the clerks of both houses requested information on the nominee from the statutory institutions, which are the EACC, Kenya Revenue Authority, Higher Education Close Board, the Director of Criminal Investigation, and the ORPP, Honorable Speaker. These institutions, Honorable Speaker, did write to the Joint Committee and gave a clean bill of health to the nominee. Additionally, the nominee presented before the committee's clearances from these particular institutions. Honorable Speaker, the committees in determining the suitability of the nominee took into consideration the provisions on leadership and integrity as outlined under Chapter 6 of the Constitution. Also, the committees consider the nominee's academic qualifications, employment record and work experience, membership to relevant professional associations, public office, political activities and affiliations, potential conflict of interest, suitability to the position, tax compliance, and other thematic areas relevant to the duties and responsibilities of a Director General of the Competition Authority of the Great Republic of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, having considered the suitability of the candidate, the committees noted the following: that the nominee is a Kenyan citizen with no dual citizenship and therefore meets the requirement of Article 78(1) of the Constitution, and 2, that the nominee was cleared by all Chapter 6 agencies and thus meets the requirement of Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, and 3, that the nominee possesses the relevant experience for the position of Director General for the Competition Authority of Kenya. He is a managing director at DGMB Solutions Limited and has vast experience in developing and managing strategies vital to the running of an organization. A background in management and organization leadership is a critical tool for any person discharging the duty like that of the Director General of the Competition Authority of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, the nominee clearly demonstrated to the Joint Committee that he clearly understood the current issues affecting the Competition Authority of Kenya. He also shared practical strategies that to address the various issues that exist around the matters of competition in this country. This placed him, Honorable Speaker, as a suitable candidate to provide leadership to the Competition Authority. The nominee, Honorable Speaker, demonstrated a satisfactory understanding of the mandate of the Competition Authority of Kenya, the need to ensure fair prices, to protect consumers and promote a transparent business environment, and the enforcement strategies that he would employ to monitor businesses. The nominee, Honorable Speaker, demonstrated his ability to effectively manage the funds and resources of an institution. He further demonstrated his ability to discharge the role as the accounting officer that is required of that of the Director General. The nominee, Honorable Speaker, is 59 years old, having been born on the 12th December 1964. The committee further finds that the Competition Authority of Kenya, Cap 504, does not provide for the age requirement for the office holder of the Director General. Further, Article 27(4) of the Constitution of Kenya prevents the state from discriminating against any Kenyan on an account of age. Honorable Speaker, it is important to note that the Joint Committee did receive a memorandum from one Mr. Wino, member of the public, challenging the nomination of Mr. Kimei as the Director General of Competition Authority of Kenya on the basis that he is 59 years of age, Honorable Speaker. Having consulted all our legal teams, it was eminent that one, the qualification set by the Competition Authority of Kenya does not have a limit for the age of the nominee, Honorable Speaker. Secondly, it goes against the Press 6 of our Constitution to discriminate anybody against any position in this country based on race, religion, color, or age, or their ethnicity, Honorable Speaker, or even political affiliation. In relation to, Honorable Speaker, to a matter that was raised by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission of Kenya regarding the judgment to surcharge the nominee when he served as a KMTC board member for the impartial recruitment of the corporation county secretary, for the organization's corporation secretary, the committee found that the nominee was not part of the said suit and therefore could not have had the opportunity to defend himself, and therefore it could not have utterly been unfair to judge him on that matter, Honorable Speaker. The matter in question, Honorable Speaker, just to give this House some basis, is when the nominee served as a board member for the KMTC, the board then recruited to the position of the CEO of the Corporation Secretary of KMTC. However, the said nominee was found not to have the requisite academic requirements, which included to have the need to possess a degree in law and to be a certified corporation secretary, as CS, Honorable Speaker. However, considering that was a board decision, and although even a court ruling had been issued, the suit was against the board of KMTC, and KMTC as a body corporate, and not to him as an individual member of that board, Honorable Speaker. And therefore, considering that he was not party to the suit, and therefore had not been accorded time to go and justify himself and defend himself, and a chance for his version to be had, the joint committees found that using that as a basis to deny this candidate the approval for this particular position of Director General would be unfair and would make him not have a recourse to be had, Honorable Speaker. The Honorable Speaker, it is therefore against this background that I request this Honorable House of the 12 of the 13th Parliament to agree with the joint committees of the National Assembly, Departmental Committee of Finance and National Planning, and the Standing Committee of Budget and Finance of the Senate, and approve Mr. David Kibet Kemei as the Director General for the Competition Authority of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I beg to move and request the Chair Jailer Committee to second. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Honorable Murugara. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, sir. Mr. Speaker, let me begin by thanking the Committee on Finance for some work well done in vetting and approving the appointment of Mr. David Kibet Kemei. Without having to rehash exactly what the chairperson of the Finance Committee has submitted regarding this candidate, may I confirm that the candidate has immense experience in matters relating to competition, finance, and business. It is important to note that the Competition Authority of Kenya, the CAK, is actually under the Competition Act, Chapter 504 of the laws of Kenya, which is established specifically to ensure that the issues of competition in the country are dealt with in a manner that protects and promotes business in the country. The purpose of the Competition Authority is to promote, safeguard competition, also ensure that our national economy is protected and the consumers who are the beneficiaries of the protection actually are not subjected to unfair and misleading market conduct or conditions in the country. Therefore, the task ahead of Mr. David Kemei is to ensure that we as consumers in the country are protected from unfair competition practices, which are quite often in Kenya. Those include bringing in substandard commodities. They also bring in undercutting, charging less than the market can allow, practices which expose consumers to substandard goods. Mr. Speaker, sir, Mr. Kibet Kemei will have to move to enforcement and the compliance with the Competition Act of Kenya. Here we will require him to ensure that this law is actually implemented to the fullest to ensure that, again, consumers and the economy of the country is protected. It is important to note that Mr. David Kibet Kemei did undergo a full vetting, and he was able to satisfy members of the Finance Committee that he was suitable for this job. And therefore, in view of the report that has been given to us, the submissions that have been made here, we do not have any hesitation in agreeing with the Committee on Finance and calling upon this Honorable House today to approve the appointment of Mr. David Kibet Kemei. With those remarks, I beg to second. Thank you very much.
Honorable members, I now propose a question. Order, honorable members, order. Can you take your seats? Take your seats. Honorable members, honorable members, take your seats. Order, honorable members. I now propose a question that, taking into consideration the findings of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning, and the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget, in its report on the vetting of a nominee for appointment as the Director General of the Competition Authority, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, the 26th September 2024, and pursuant to Section 12(1) of the Competition Act, Cap 504, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointment Parliamentary Approval Act of 2011, this House approves the appointment of Mr. David Kibet Kemei as the Director General of Competition Authority. Yes, the Honorable Bayer.
Honorable Speaker, I stand to support these findings of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget in its report on the vetting of a nominee for appointment as the Director General of the Competition Authority. Honorable Speaker, as members are aware, the Competition Authority plays a crucial role in enhancing the welfare of the people of Kenya by promoting and protecting competition in markets and preventing misleading market conduct. Therefore, Honorable Speaker, the importance of the office of the Director General cannot be gainsaid. Honorable Speaker, I note that in considering the suitability of the nominee, the committee paid due regard to the constitutional and statutory requirements relating to the office in question and whether the nominee's abilities, experience, and qualities met the needs of the said office. Honorable Speaker, the committee was guided by the Constitution and the statutory requirements, such as the national values and principles of governance, conduct of public officer, and leadership and integrity prerequisites. Additionally, Mr. Speaker, the suitability of the nominee was assessed after scrutiny of their background, academic credentials, and their professional qualifications, work, and professional experience, personal integrity, as well as their performance. The nominee, Honorable Speaker, Mr. David Kibet Kemei, has over 33 years' experience across many sectors, including academia, regulatory tourism, health, communication, and energy. Through his extensive employment record and work experience, the nominee is well equipped
with the skills and expertise needed as Director General for the Competition Authority. Mr. Speaker, further, the nominee has clearly demonstrated a clear roadmap, according to the report, to promote growth in the sector, including creating a level playing field for businesses, advocating for regulatory reforms that promote transparency and competition, developing a regulatory framework that supports their competition, and promoting regional and global integration to foster a competitive environment that benefits both local and international business. Honorable Speaker, in conclusion, I urge this House to make a swift and favorable decision in approving Mr. David Kibet Kimei to the position of Director General of the Competition Authority of Kenya, thus reinforcing our commitment to protecting, strengthening, and improving the efficiency of our economy, which is vital for driving economic growth. Honorable Speaker, I support the appointment of David Kimei to be the Director General of the Competition Authority, and the report is available. The committee has done a good job, commendable job, and I want to thank the committee and the Senate committee, and therefore request this House to not waste time, but approve the appointment of David Kimei Kibet to be the Director General of the Competition Authority. Honorable Speaker, I support and request the members to support, and if the Honorable Pokosi is around, he can request that we put the question and we approve. Honorable Speaker, I thank you.
Majority Leader, the MP for Suba South, the Honorable Karoli Omondi.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I rise to support the nomination of David Kibet Kimei to the position of Director General of Competition Authority. As I'm doing so, I can see Honorable Marianne Keitani smiling. There's a particular reason for that smile. Honorable Keitani and I happen to have worked with David Kibet Kimei many years ago when we established the first independent regulatory authority, then known as Electricity Regulatory Board, now Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, EPRA. I give Mr. Kimei very strong recommendation because from that group at ERB at that time, now EPRA, our inaugural chairman is now the Speaker of this House. Our inaugural CEO is now the Deputy Chief Justice of this Republic. Marianne Keitani, the first Chief of Staff, Lady Chief of Staff in the Republic of Kenya, are now a member of this House. One good engineer, Kevin Kariuki, is now the head of power at African Development Bank. And yours truly, Karoli Omondi, the first Chief of Staff in the Republic of Kenya, is now a member of this House. Now, let me begin by giving further information about David Kimei. He was very instrumental in helping us set up rules and regulations that will deal with competition in the power subsector, consumer protection, compliance issues, and dispute resolution. I'm very confident that David Kimei will be able to be a good Director General and discharge the functions of a regulator properly, of exercising independent authority and ensuring that the market work and consumers are protected and that disputes that emerge are settled expeditiously and equitably. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I beg to support.
The Honorable Marianne Keitani.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I stand to support the nomination and appointment of Mr. David Kimei to the position of Director General of Competition Authority. Mr. Speaker, just like has been said by my colleague, Honorable Karoli Omondi, we worked with David Kimei at one time in our lives, and the work, and I can actually vouch for his experience and his professionalism in the works he does. He's very articulate and very straight to the point, and knowing that Competition Authority is an authority that takes care of businesses and industry in terms of competition and competitive advantages that some companies may want to take advantage of other companies. I think he comes in with the right skill and the right professionalism to be able to steer our industry and ensure that every industry or every person wanting to do business in Kenya gets the right forum or gets the right environment where competition is not curtailed. We know, for example, that there are businesses in this country that want to take advantage of others and make lots of profits and huge profits. And I know that David Kemei will be able to perform that duty, and I know that he is qualified and has the professional skill and is actually professional in everything that he does. I therefore stand to support. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
MP for Kikuyu and Majority Leader Kimani Ichung'wah.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. And I rise to support the appointment, or rather the nomination and appointment of David to the position of the Director General of the Competition Authority of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, even as I support his nomination from his vast experience as a good professional who can deliver on the mandate having been vetted by the Finance and National Planning Committee, I must take this opportunity, Honorable Speaker, to speak to David and tell him that he's taking office in a very crucial authority in our country. Honorable Speaker, the Competition Authority has been moribund since its formation. And I want to hope and pray that David Kemei is a man who will make this authority have teeth to bite. Because, Honorable Speaker, we're in a country where corporates like Safaricom want to operate like a monopoly, and they do not desire to have competition from anybody, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I was shocked the other day when there was a lot of debate online and across the country from a letter that was done by Safaricom to the Communications Authority on the rollout of Starlink satellite technology in Kenya. Honorable Speaker, as much as Safaricom may have a point in terms of the national security issues and issues touching on traceability of the gadgets and where they are and for what purpose they are being used, but we see corporates like Safaricom and others, Honorable Speaker, who take advantage of their dominance in the market to kill competition in the country. And any economy without competition, Honorable Speaker, people will be taken advantage of. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the case of Starlink, Kenyans today are paying an average of 1,300 per month for data that is quick, is very fast, is easy to access, and you can access it from any corner of the country, irrespective of whether there's a base station or not. Why would anybody, Honorable Speaker, want to derail Kenyans from accessing such technology? Simply because you have invested over the years in base stations. If you have been slow in advancing your technology with changing times in the world, Honorable Speaker, it is not the problem of Kenyans. And this is where the Competition Authority must come in and step in and ensure that no corporate in this country and nobody is able to deny Kenyans the right of choice, because that is all competition about. Competition is about the right to choice. Kenyans must be able to choose, even with Kenya Power and Lighting Company. We must be able to choose whether we want power connected to our homes by KPLC or by another competitor, Honorable Speaker, who can distribute power from the national grid. It cannot be that since for the last 60 years, we have depended on KPLC, and in this day and age where people are even, Honorable Speaker, I saw something online, I think it was in India or Bangladesh, where people are using solar lighting and creating a grid in a village by interconnecting their own solar panels across their village. That is the beauty of technology that we must harness to ensure that we leverage on the innovations of our young people in this country, Honorable Speaker, to make sure that there is competitive trade in our economy, to ensure that at the end of the day, the ordinary Kenyan is able to access either services or products at the cheapest possible cost, whether it is data, whether it is airtime, Honorable Speaker, and as much as I don't like Elon Musk, Honorable Speaker, I saw him promising us that with time we'll be able to make emergency calls for free by converting our cell phones to satellite phones. This is the kind of innovation and technology we want, so that I do not have to pay 3 shillings per minute for airtime that could be free, for heaven's sake. Honorable Speaker, I support this nomination, but I want to ask Mr. David Kemei to make sure that the Competition Authority has teeth to bite and ensure Kenyans get value for their money, and the industry, all industries are competitive. With that, I support.
The MP for Wajir North, the Honorable Sene. Sene, are you in the House? Because I see your name here.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. I have no problem with the nominee offered the opposition as the Director General. David Kibet Kimei is qualified and competent to do the job. However, Mr. Speaker, I have serious concerns on how opportunities are being shared in this country. Mr. Speaker, ethnicity, marginalization, diversity, very important values that are so clear in our constitutions are just on paper, they are not in action. Opportunities has become the preserve of only the major tribes in this country. Mr. Speaker, I'm not a flower girl to sit in this house to always approve names for only few communities, Mr. Speaker. Kenya belongs to 47 tribes. 47 tribes. Day in, day out, we are approving names. I ask, are other Kenyans not competent? Are they not qualified? I'm reminded of the predecessor of this gentleman, David Kibet. One Dr. Adano has been acting for 21 months. 21 months in the same position. That begs many questions. There were so many irregularities in the recruitment of officers in the same office. So my concern, in as much as I approve the appointment of Kibet, Kenya doesn't belong to 2 to 3 or 4 tribes. Kenya belongs to 47 tribes. I don't know when an Ajuran, which is a tribe also in this country, a nominee from that community shall come to the floor of this house and we approve one from that community. There is the monopoly of only appointing people from few tribes. Kenya is one and our unity is manifest in the 47 communities or tribes, Mr. Speaker. In as much as I approve the nominee, I beg for regional balance. I beg for equity. I beg that all Kenyans are treated equally. I beg that Somali is not an ethnic, it's an ethnicity but not a tribe. That the Somali community is a nation of tribes. And many a times we are shrouded and we are being concealed in that name. So my concern is, let Kibet be approved. But let Kenya belong to 47 tribes, not in name but by action. I support, but I am not happy. I am not happy. I am crestfallen in the way in which public service is being just given to few clans, to few tribes, Mr. Speaker. Otherwise, I approve. Thank you.
The Honorable Makilap. Makilap. Order,
thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honorable members, please consult in law.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order. Yeah.
Protecting me from the leadership here. They are doing loud consultation.
The Honorable Kimani Chungwa, the Honorable Osoro. I will not mention the lady's name. She's my colleague.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First, I rise to support David Kibet Kemei for appointment to the position of Director General of Competition Authority of Kenya. So, Speaker, during the vetting process, the one David Kemei showed a lot of experience and knowledge in the area, in matters of law, in matters of competitors. He has vast knowledge in the industry. So, Speaker, just following what the leader of majority has said, David Kemei has a job to be done in Kenya. One, Mr. Speaker, is to ask David Kemei, if he gets approval of this House, to sort out competition in the power sector, as the leader of majority has said, so that Kenya Power does not enjoy monopoly of power in this country, Mr. Speaker. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, in Safaricom, M-Pesa, competition between M-Pesa and commercial banks and microfinances, Mr. Speaker, an industry that is not regulated by law, Mr. Speaker, that needs to be sorted out. That is a job waiting for one David Kemei. Mr. Speaker, in the manufacture of cement, Mr. Speaker, in this country there is one manufacturer who does the clinker, who does the manufacture of and processing of cement. He is the manufacturer, he is the wholesaler, he is the retailer, and he is the distributor. Mr. Speaker, how do you expect the small business people to compete? Mr. Speaker, that is an area that requires to be sorted out. Similarly to steel manufacturer. It's the one manufacturing steel, he does the distribution, he does the retail, Mr. Speaker, and he does the mining of pellets, among other things, Mr. Speaker. How do you expect a small hustler who has opened their shop in Baringo North, for example, Mr. Speaker, to compete with that kind of manufacturer? So, Mr. Speaker, this is an industry that requires a man of caliber of David Kibet to be able to sort out the things that are affecting that particular industry, Mr. Speaker, including taxes, Mr. Speaker. A situation where tax regime...
Honorable members, order. I can understand... Order. Just a second. I can understand there's a lot of excitement today in the House. But please, do consult in low tones, allow the Honorable Makilap to be heard. Proceed, Makilap.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What is it in competition, Mr. Speaker? Competition must be able to create a fair playground for all business people in Kenya. This is the man that will be able to put in order monopolies in business. Look at the milk industry, Mr. Speaker. The milk industry, the milk production and the value chain in the milk industry is skewed towards one competitor who works very hard to kill the other industries, including ACC. Mr. Speaker, this milk production and its value chain, together with the competitors of those who process and package milk, requires order so that the business people on the ground, the people who produce milk and keep cows, will be able to have value for money for their milk, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, there is a lot that needs to be regulated in this country so that there is fair competition, so that the people who want to build the economy, the young economies, will be able to build in the internet sector, Mr. Speaker, and the digital economy. Mr. Speaker, there is need to have order in that area, Mr. Speaker, so that everyone has a play and has a space to play in growing the economy of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I support one David Kibet for the appointment for Director General of Competition Authority of Kenya, Mr. Speaker.
The MP for Jomvu, Badibadi. Mheshimiwa Badibadi.
Yes. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Speaker kwa kunipatia fursa hii leo ili na mimi kuungana pamoja na wenzangu kuchangia katika mada hii. Leo Mheshimiwa Speaker, mimi nataka pia kushikana pamoja na wajumbe wenzangu katika kuunga mkono uteuzi wa Bwana David Kemei katika halmashauri ya ushindani, yani Director General katika Competition Authority. Vile vile Mheshimiwa Speaker, niko na sababu Bwana David Kemei ameongelelewa na wengi sana juu ya utendakazi wake na kuwa ni mtu ambaye ataweza kusaidia katika kuona kuwa halmashauri hii inaweza kunawiri. Mheshimiwa Speaker, tumeona kiongozi wetu wa wengi ndugu Kimani Ichung'wah akizungumzia juu ya hali ilivyo katika Kenya Power, na ni muhimu pia na mimi niunge mkono kusema kwa mambo kama haya. Ni muhimu kuona kuwa mtu mwananchi anaweza kujichagulia, lakini hali ilivyo mwananchi anawekwa katika hali kuwa hana budi, lazima awe ataweza kutumia moto wa Kenya Power. Vile vile, Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka kumwambia Bwana David Kimei ya kwa kuwa hii kazi yake ni ngumu sana na lazima ajitolee na serikali impe nguvu ya kuona kuwa namna gani wale mabwenyenye ambao watakuwa wakitaka kuzuia ili waweze kumonopolize biashara, kuona kuwa ameweka ushindani wa kila moja. Mheshimiwa Spika, nikisema hivyo ni kumaanisha kuna uwekezaji wa nafaka, yani grain handling, ambao kuna makampuni pia, Mheshimiwa Spika, wanataka kujitolea kuona kuwa kule Mombasa washindane pamoja na wengine ili wafanye biashara ile, lakini wanawekewa vikwazo vingi katika kuona kuwa wanaweza na wao kuingia katika uwanja wa ushindani ili kufanya mambo yale. Kijana mmoja mkurugenzi mdogo sana pale anaitwa Mohamed D, ambaye yeye aling'ang'ana pande ya mambo ya documentation na mengine mingi kuona kuwa ili aweze katika hiyo kampuni ishindane na wale mabwenyenye wengine. Mheshimiwa Spika, hatuwezi kuenuka ikiwa tutaacha wale mabwenyenye peke yao wenye nguvu wafanye biashara. Kwa hivyo mimi nasema ni muhimu huyu Bwana David Kimei aone kuwa tukimpelekea maneno pia kumwambia awe ataweza kuwasikiza ili aweze kufungua mlango wa ushindani wa kibiashara na mambo mengine katika watu wetu. Vile vile leo tuna hasara, Mheshimiwa Spika, imepatikana mafuta kule Turkana, ambapo kwa zamani sisi pale Mombasa kwetu kulikuwa na refinery pale Changamwe. Hivi sasa imefungwa, hakuna ushindani ambao unaweza kuendelea. Mafuta haya yanapatikana, yanachukuliwa pelekwa nchi za nje, wanafanyiwa na yanakuwa refined, kisha tunarudishwa, tunauziwa. Kwa hivyo hiyo kwa Kiswahili nasema ni goji kirba, kirba goji. Yani sisi tuna mafuta, tutoe nje, tufanyiwe refining, alafu kisha turudishwe. Hii kampuni refinery lazima ifufuliwe na serikali ili iweze kushindana na wale Waarabu wengine pale katika nchi za nje na kutupa kazi katika watu wetu ambao walikuwa wanafanya katika refinery ile. Leo Mheshimiwa Spika, watu wengi wamefutwa kazi. Watu wengi wameenda kutafuta kazi katika nchi za nje. Mdogo wa mamangu mwenyewe, bwanake alikuwa anaitwa Kibwana, anafanya refinery. Kwa experience yake, baada ya refinery kufungwa, leo ameenda kufanya kazi Qatar, katika nchi za nje, kusaidia watu wengine. Na hali hii, miradi ikiweza kufunguliwa, wanaweza kuleta ushindani na watu wetu kufanya kazi hapa. Kwa hivyo Mheshimiwa Spika, nashukuru sana na nampongeza David Kimei. Asante sana.
Madam Ngele Chei, the MP for Elgeyo Marakwet, followed by akifuatwa na Mheshimiwa Mazamzam.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And Mr. Speaker, I want to contribute to the appointment of Mr. Kimei. I know David Kimei personally as a person, and he is someone, a very hardworking person, who has actually steered a very successful DGMB Solutions Limited, and has proven to be somebody who can take an organization from one level to another. And that is the experience that we need in the public service nowadays, Mr. Speaker, because many a times we fail, not because we don't have the right people with the right knowledge, but experience is the best way we can handle this noble organization. Last, Mr. Speaker, Kimei is also somebody who is known to be very transparent, very honest. This is somebody you can depend upon, and this is somebody who is, you who can guarantee that can discharge his duties without fear and favor. I therefore support the committee, Mr. Speaker, on the issue of David Kemei. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Mheshimiwa Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwanza kabla sijaendelea niweze kuelezea wale ambao wanashughulika na IT ama pale juu wasiweze kutoa mazungumzo yangu, manake tumeingia bunge tuzungumze, watu wetu wanaangalia. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, nichukue fursa hii niweze kumshukuru na kumpongeza ndugu yetu David Kemei kwa kuteuliwa katika halmashauri hii. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, ni mtu ambaye David Kemei amekuwa ni mtu mwenye mujitama ambao wa kueleweka, ni mtu ambaye amejiweka katika hadhi ambayo inatakiwa kuwekwa katika halmashauri hii. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, nikiweza kupigia upatu ndugu yangu Mheshimiwa Badi, naweza kusema hivi Mheshimiwa Spika, halmashauri nyingi Mheshimiwa Spika, unapata kama alivyozungumza wana ile mambo ya kufanya biashara mtu mmoja, yani monopoly. Yeye mtu mmoja ndio anataka kufanya biashara peke yake Mheshimiwa Spika. Na mimi nataka kusema kwa mfano ile grain bulk ya handlers ya kule Mombasa. Unapata kuna wenzetu ambao wana uwezo wa kufanya biashara hii Mheshimiwa Spika, lakini mtu mmoja amekatalia, yeye peke yake ndo anafanya hiyo biashara Mheshimiwa Spika. Wenzake wamepewa nafasi ya kufanya, lakini unaona mambo enda kotini na nini. Kwa hiyo tunajua ndugu yetu David Kemei anaweza kainyoosha Mheshimiwa Spika na mambo yakawa sawa Mheshimiwa Spika. Tunaangalia pia katika halmashauri ya stima Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna mambo mengi ambayo yanaendelea, na akiweza kutoa mwanya ambao tutapata wengine ambao waweza kufanya shughuli hizi Mheshimiwa Spika, ikawa mambo ya stima yanaenda vizuri Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo mimi nataka leo kumpongeza, na pia nimwambie ndugu yangu Badi, pole sana kupoteza bodyguard wako. Mwenyezi Mungu amrehemu, amhifadhi na wema, na Mwenyezi Mungu akupe nguvu ndugu yangu Badi. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Lilian Kogo. Yes, order Lilian.
Thank you so much, Honorable
Lilian.
Speaker.
Yes, Owen Bayer.
Honorable Speaker, while I support the sentiments on David Kemei, but in this debate, on the point of irrelevance, is it really right for honorable members to fight a company without a substantive motion? The issue of grain bulk is being fronted as if it is the main motion. Grain bulk is a respectable company that is doing good business out there. But when we drag its name here because of, I don't know, whatever war they have in Mombasa, I think it's unfair for this company, for the staff of that company, and for the organization called Grain Bulk. I think we need as a country to support this organization without having really to badmouth them in Parliament just because you cannot compete with them out there. Honorable Speaker, I think they need to withdraw those statements and stick to the motion on David Kemei and competition without necessarily having to badmouth a company that has done Kenya a great job. When no one could handle grain in this country, Grain Bulk came and invested. Is it really right for us to fight Grain Bulk Limited in this chamber? Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Hold Zamzam, weko nini? Hapana.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika. Nataka nimwelezee Mheshimiwa Owen Bayer jua kuweka matusi kando na maneno kando. Nimesema anafanya kazi nzuri, lakini atoe mwanya wa wenzake pia kuweza kufanya biashara ile ile, siwe ni mtu mmoja. Kwa hiyo hatujamtukana, hatujamtusi, usiweke fitna. Hii ni bunge ambayo tunataka mgao katika serikali ama mgao katika taifa uelekee kwa Wakenya wote Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo Mheshimiwa Bayer, mimi ni mpwani, wewe ni mpwani, na unajua bandari ni yetu sisi sote, lazima tuweke Wakenya wote waweze kupata matunda ndani ya bandari. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Lilian Kogo.
I really thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also rise and support the nomination of one David Kemei to be the Director General of Competition Authority. And I want to congratulate him. He's well known in his astuteness in the work that he does. And Honorable Speaker, the point I wanted to add on to what my colleagues have already said is that the appointment of Honorable Kemei comes at a point when, as Kenyans, we are entangled in a system where we have the national debate on inclusivity. We have the agenda of everybody and all of us being included. I appreciate his qualifications. I appreciate his experience, but he's coming at a time, Honorable Speaker, when the national dialogue and the national agenda is on inclusivity. So I want to appreciate the work that the committee has done, but I still also want to implore Kenyans. I want to implore Kenyans and tell them and tell us that it is important that when distributing the national cake, that Honorable Speaker, that we include all regions, Honorable Speaker. At the time that Kenya stands, most Kenyans have been exposed to education, Honorable Speaker. At the place where we find Kenya, Honorable Speaker, most Kenyans are experienced, Honorable Speaker. At the point where I stand, Honorable Speaker, most Kenyans have the capacity to do a good job. So I would implore, Honorable Speaker, that as we appoint noble Kenyans in the various capacities so for them to serve this country, I pray that we follow the desire of the Constitution of the Republic of Kenya. We follow the law of the land. We follow the ultimate Bible of the law of Kenya, that we include all Kenyans, Honorable Speaker. I have nothing personal against David. I have nothing, he's not known to me in person, but my dear friend, Honorable Member for Aldai, indicates that she knows him in person. And I hold her in very high regard. And for that particular reason, I'm going to give the DG marks. This is what I'm saying, Honorable Speaker, that as much as we want to do this, we need to now start getting it right. That even the motion that is still, that is pending before this House, that you are here to give your direction and wisdom. I know, Honorable Speaker, that people will still question why it is only one particular community, Honorable Speaker, that would qualify for certain jobs. I have nothing personal against my dear brother, but I pray, Honorable Speaker, that we give each other equal opportunity, we balance all the state corporations, and as he goes to work, do the work, implement the Act of Competition Authority. I pray that he does it with the diligence and the decorum that is expected of him. A time has come that he has to go and just clip certain companies in this country. Honorable Speaker, you would find a certain company, you buy data with them. When you buy data of 1,000, by morning that data is finished. You buy data of 3,000, by morning that same data is finished. Even if you are not using your phone, your data just disappears. So I'm wishing my brother well, and I pray that he serves Kenyans with the diligence and the respect that Kenyans deserve. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, member for...
Yes, Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. I'm standing on Order 95. I feel that this matter has been extensively deliberated upon, and Mr. Speaker, I'm requesting you to call the mover to reply. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Is that the mood of the House? I'll put the question, which is that the mover be called upon to reply. As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Mover.
Honorable Speaker, I want to thank this Honorable House for the great, robust debate that you've had on this candidate, Honorable Speaker. And because I'm sure that the candidate is listening, and if this House approves his candidature for the Director General of the Competition Authority of Kenya, I hope he's going to take into consideration the concerns of this House, which is ensuring there is a robust competition in this republic, which is to ensure that we stop these monopolies in this country, Honorable Speaker, because monopolies have been shown by research to cause many problems, whether it is substandard products in the market, whether it is price manipulation, Honorable Speaker, whether it is hindering the growth of small and medium-term enterprises, Honorable Speaker, whether it is the abuse of the market, whether it is prevention of economic efficiency, Honorable Speaker, or even preventing concentration of economic power to a few people, Honorable Speaker, or a few institutions, Honorable Speaker. So we hope that the DG designate will stamp his authority and ensure that there is compliance to competition, that every Kenyan, every business is given a right and time and the required support by this administration to make sure that they can avail their products in the market. Because that way, we ensure Kenyans have access to fair, competitively priced products, good quality, prevent dominance, and give a chance to everyone to shine in whichever industry that, Honorable Speaker, they seek to thrive in, Honorable Speaker. I don't know whether, Honorable Speaker, I'm allowed to donate part of the remaining minutes to CPA Ruto, a member of the committee.
No minutes remaining.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
In the future, if you want to donate any minute, you do so before you reply.
Well, get it, Honorable Speaker.
The moment you reply is closure.
Well, get it, Honorable Speaker. Only that, I beg to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Kimani. Honorable members, I'll now put the question, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Joint Committee of the National Assembly Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning and the Senate Standing Committee on Finance and Budget in its report on the vetting of a nominee for appointment as the Director General of the Competition Authority, laid on the table of the House on Thursday, 26 September 2024, and pursuant to Section 12(1) of the Competition Act, Cap 504, and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House approves the appointment of Mr. David Kibet Kemei as the Director General of the Competition Authority. As members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? The ayes have it. Honorable Member McLeod, take your seat. Honorable members, Karoli, take your seat. Member for Webuye, take your seat. Honorable members, I have a further communication on the consideration of the special motion for the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Gachagua as Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. Honorable members, you recall that earlier this afternoon at the commencement of this sitting, I notified the House of receipt of a notice of special motion by the member for Kibwezi West constituency, the Honorable Ekomas Mwengi Mutuse, OGW MP, seeking the removal from office by impeachment of His Excellency Rigathi Gachagua, EGH, as the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya. You may further recall that after the notice of the special motion was given by the member, several members rose in their places and raised a number of procedural concerns for my guidance. The members who spoke include the leader of the majority party, Honorable Kimani Ichung'wah, the leader of the minority party, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, the majority whip, the Honorable Silvanus Osoro, the Honorable Farah Maalim, Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, and Honorable Major Bashir Abdullahi. Honorable members, cognizant of the obligation on the House To dispose of the special motion with urgency, I undertook to address the concerns expeditiously in order to allow the House to proceed with the next stages of the special motion. As members are aware, the 7 days available to this House to dispose of the motion will lapse on Tuesday, 8th October 2024. In this regard, I retreated to my chamber to apply my mind to the issues, and also convened a meeting of the House Business Committee for purposes of deliberating on the next steps to be taken with regard to the special motion and the procedural concerns raised in the House. Honorable members, I have summarized the issues raised by members as follows. 1, calculation of the number of members required to meet the voting threshold that apply to the impeachment of a deputy president. 2, whether the House shall conduct public participation in its consideration of the motion, and if so, the modalities of such an exercise. 3, the right of the deputy president to be afforded an opportunity to be heard, and 4, security arrangements for members of parliament. Honorable members, now allow me to examine each of the issues. With regard to the first issue, on calculating the number of members required to meet the voting threshold that apply to the impeachment of a deputy president, the attention of the Speaker was drawn to the current membership of the House in light of the 4 vacancies relating to Magarini, Ugunja, and Banisa constituencies, and the seat recently vacated by the Honorable John Badi upon his appointment to the Cabinet. The query around this issue sought guidance on whether calculating the voting threshold prescribed in Article 145 of the Constitution would take into account the vacancies and the existing 345 members of the House. I wish to refer the House to the express provisions of Article 145, 1 and 2 of the Constitution, which provide clear guidance on this issue. The articles provide, and I quote, "A member of the National Assembly, supported by at least a third of all the members, may move a motion for the impeachment of the President. On the ground of gross violation of a provision of this Constitution or any other law, where there are serious reasons for believing that the President has committed a crime under national or international law, or C, for gross misconduct. 2, if a motion under Clause 1 is supported by at least 2/3 of all the members of the National Assembly, the Speaker shall inform the Speaker of the Senate of that resolution within 2 days. The President shall continue to perform the functions of the office pending the outcome of the proceedings required by this article. Members will note the instructive words in both provisions subject the prescribed threshold to all the members, to the extent that no reference is made to existing members. The thresholds can only be applied to the membership of the National Assembly that is prescribed under Article 97 of the Constitution. In this regard, a member who proposes a motion for the impeachment of a president or deputy president must be supported by at least 1/3 of the 349 members of the House, being 117 members. By extension, for the House to pass a resolution on a motion for the impeachment of a president or deputy president, the motion must be supported by at least 2/3 of the 349 members of the House, being 233 members. A related issue raised with respect to the first issue was whether the validity of the proceedings of the House would be affected in light of the 4 vacant seats. Notably, Article 124(3) of the Constitution provides that the proceedings of a House of Parliament are not invalid merely on account of a vacancy in its membership. That settles the issue. Honorable members, the second issue was on the conduct of public participation in consideration of the special motion and the modalities of such an exercise. At the very outset, permit me to note that it would be absurd for any person to imagine that a motion such as the one present before the House may be concluded without the participation of the public. Honorable members, Article 1182 of the Constitution categorically enjoins Parliament to facilitate public participation and involvement in the legislative and other business of Parliament and its committees. My attention has also been drawn to various court decisions relating to the removal from office of state officers, including county governors. I'm indeed persuaded that the public participation is an integral element of the process of removal of an elected state officer from office. Having reiterated the centrality of public participation in the process, how then shall the public participate in the consideration of the special motion? Honorable members, in answering this question, the House Business Committee has addressed this issue during its meeting this afternoon and approved a program of public participation across the country to be coordinated from the 47 counties. The clerk shall communicate the full details of the program for the information of the public through print and electronic media advertisements to run from tomorrow, 2nd October 2024. Honorable members, with regard to the administrative arrangements to facilitate public participation, the House Business Committee also resolved on the following modalities. 1, that the public participation will be undertaken on Friday, 4th October 2024. Consequently, all other parliamentary activities previously scheduled between Thursday, 3rd, until Monday, 7th October 2024 shall be suspended. That this unprecedented occasion is one which requires the House to summon all members to avail themselves and participate in all activities relating to the special motion. Further, Standing Order 68 provides that a motion for the removal of a person from office takes precedence over all other businesses on the order paper. Consequently, the consideration of the special motion shall have priority over all activities in the House, whether domestic or foreign. 3, that the House Business Committee will seek a resolution of the House to A, suspend the sitting of the House on Thursday, 3rd October 2024, in order to facilitate the administrative arrangements for public participation, and B, hold a morning sitting on Tuesday, 8th October 2024, and commence an early afternoon sitting on the same day to consider the special motion. Further, honorable members, I have been requested by the move of the motion and in consultation with the House Business Committee to convene a forum for a briefing of members on the modalities of the public participation program. In this regard, I will interrupt tomorrow morning's sitting at noon and adjourn the House for this purpose. I also direct the clerk to make necessary arrangements for the briefing of the House at this session. Honorable members, the third issue touched on the manner of affording the Deputy President an opportunity to be heard and the modalities of the same. In this case, Standing Order 67 obligates the House to afford the Deputy President an opportunity to be heard either in person, through a representative, or both. Further, the House is under an obligation to accord the Deputy President the right to fair administrative action under Article 47 and the right to fair hearing under Article 50 of the Constitution. Drawing from the foregoing and the timelines provided for the House to dispose of the motion for which notice was given today, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya is entitled to appear before the House in person through a legal representative or both during consideration of the motion. Noting that the special motion shall be considered on 8th October 2024, I have directed that the Deputy President be notified of his right to appear on the said date and the allocation of time from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., 2 hours. Honorable members, the fourth and final issue that was raised for guidance was on the security of members whose support of the special motion may affect their personal safety. The security and safety of members is a paramount priority for the Parliamentary Service Commission, which is charged with providing services and facilities to ensure the efficient and effective functioning of Parliament. As chairman of the Parliamentary Service Commission, I assure all members that apart from existing arrangements made for their security and safety, additional arrangements shall be considered if the need arises in consultation with the National Police Service. Honorable members, as I conclude, I urge each one of us and the public to truly grasp the magnitude of the unprecedented journey the House is about to undertake. In promulgating the Constitution, Kenyans bestowed upon themselves and generations yet to come a document that reshaped the very soul of our nation. Indeed, our Constitution is a living document that espouses the aspirations of our people. To this end, On Friday, 27th day of August 2010, Kenyans affirmed their sovereign and inalienable right to establish a government anchored in democracy, social justice, and the rule of law. The power to impeach is a profound check on the conduct of a state officer. To safeguard the rights of an affected state officer, the Constitution prescribes high and graduated thresholds on the National Assembly. The thresholds reflect the gravity of the task before the House. This special motion is not just an inquiry into the conduct of a state officer, it is also a momentous test of the resilience of the constitutional procedures meticulously designed by the framers. As you proceed to scrutinize the conduct of the Deputy President, the House is also under scrutiny with respect to its fidelity to the Constitution and its obligation to uphold the rights of every Kenyan. I have no doubt that we will rise to this defining moment, that we shall confront this test with dignity, resolve, and utmost integrity. I am confident that the House shall prove itself worthy of the trust placed on it by the Constitution and the people of Kenya. Honorable members, in summary, therefore, I wish to guide the House as follows. 1, that while the threshold for admitting the special motion under Article 145 and 150 is 117 members, the threshold for passing a resolution on the motion for the impeachment of the President or Deputy President is 203 members of this House. 2, that public participation is an integral element of the process of removal of an elected state officer from office. In this regard, the House Business Committee has approved a program of public participation across the country to be coordinated from the 47 counties on 4th October 2024. That's Friday this week. 3, that in order to observe the requirements of Article 47 and 5th of the Constitution and Standing Order 67, His Excellency the Deputy President shall be notified of his right to appear before the House on Tuesday, 8th October 2024, and the allocation of time between 5 and 7 p.m. That in addition to the existing arrangements made for the security and safety of members, additional arrangements shall be considered in the usual manner in consultation with the National Police Service. The House is accordingly guided. I thank you. Who is that? Kamket. On the ruling? Okay, give him the floor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, while I appreciate your guidance, Mr. Speaker, I seek slightly more guidance on the matter of public participation. The threshold for public participation is not very clear.
Honorable Kamket, take your seat. If you listened carefully, I said we will adjourn the House tomorrow at 12 for the House to retreat into a special informal sitting to be briefed on that process. So if you hold your horses, you will know tomorrow. I suspect you are not listening. He was? Yes, Kamket. Your colleague here says you are thinking about banditry.
Far from it, Mr. Speaker.
Yes.
It's a genuine concern, Mr. Speaker, but I'm happy by that guidance, except that the Constitution and the standing orders, there is no clear threshold on that matter of public participation. So I'll stand guided by
Lawyers
that
will
ruling.
tell you that the threshold is defined by what a reasonable man, and I believe a reasonable woman too, will see as reasonable.
Very well.
Yes, Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I just wish further clarification on the issue of listening to the His Excellency the Deputy President and what follows thereafter, considering that the motion must be dispensed of on the same particular day. There is a reasonable expectation that after being heard, whoever is hearing you is given adequate time to review what you have said and incorporate the same in the decision. And I do believe, Honorable Speaker, a House sitting as it is equivalent to a court of law or high court, and very rarely do they make immediate decision or make an immediate judgment before they review and analyze all the evidence presented. I do hope you will apply yourself and guide us adequately so that whatever decision we make at the end of the proceeding or the sitting is not invalidated on account of unfair treatment of the accused, so to speak. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Yes, Mama Zamzam.
Mheshimiwa Spika, nilikuwa na swali, mbona